and so on and so forth. And then when it comes to day 2, that's where they will start to try to counter each other. And try to get the best of each other, basically. So day 1 is probably going to be more of a preview. But because it's a preview as well, we can also expect like teams, whether they intentionally do it or not, they might clash in a particular draw spot just to show a bit of dominance because they won that particular spot for themselves in day 2 onwards.
Yeah, and I think last season you and I, we did notice those early fights, right? Hot drops especially happened for teams that really, really want to, fight for those hot spots. There were teams that, initially had the same drop spots in the beginning. We saw it happen so many times where one team finally yields and then chooses another drop spot. You have teams that are prepared for those hot drops as well. And, it's super exciting because I know that a lot of these teams, they have already pretty much set drops that they wanted. But there are some teams that just say, you know what, screw it, we don't care. We will just fight whoever is going to be dropping with us. And, these teams, I feel, are the ones that are, kind of like the wild card. You don't know what to expect, right? You know that they're going to be aggressive. You know they're going to be dropping to you, but you don't know what exactly to expect in terms of protocols on like how fast they're going to be looting or how they're going to be taking advantage of a situation.
Yeah, and that level of randomness is what makes it fun, right? It's like you don't know what's going to happen in the upcoming match. Although it could be like the same map, it could be like, we're going to see another Erangel, we're going to see another Erangel again, but because of the randomness of what might happen, are they going to meet with each other very early on, take early fights? We wouldn't know. On top of that, of course, the circle will always be one of the key factors
your
for
enemy
to gain success. So that's something that we will want to keep an eye on as well. But also, we'd like to shout out to some of the teams from the PMNC or Wildcard regions that actually made it through. So from Laos, we actually have Paradise Esports together with us this season. And from Singapore, S69 will be with us. If last season we had Brunei, unfortunately they did not qualify. Instead, their slot is replaced by Laos this time. So good job coming up here to the PMCL.
It's really interesting. We're seeing more and more teams coming in from Philippines and Cambodia as well this season compared to before as well, which is honestly making me super excited to see because, seeing all these teams just really rise up and just surprise all of us in terms of, skill. Because I know that when, long ago for Philippines, they were just, a country that's just rising up into the ranks of PUBG Mobile, right? With more teams coming up, it's just interesting to see how the game is just slowly growing there with more pros just really rising as well. And to see the scene really thrive really makes it much more exciting. Like we know that Malaysia and Indonesia, Thailand have their own scene. It's huge. And I think that we might be seeing our next big one here in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, and because the stakes are higher this time, right? Like we're talking about the slot to Esports World Cup. It's going to be hard to tell who will get that slot. That one slot from the PMCL will be super duper precious because if you don't get that, well, then it's a break until like the second half of the year. So it's going to be quite a break. And I'm pretty sure the teams wouldn't want to have that sort of a long break and they will go all in for it. But who will gain that one slot? Well, that's where the journey begins here today in our first day of the PMCL. And I personally would like to see surprises. I'd like to see like teams that maybe people don't expect to come up with a good performance, and who knows, they'll be able to snatch away that slot. Maybe somebody, or maybe the team from Laos, like Paradise Esports, or maybe a team from Singapore, S69.
That'll be fun.
With a surprise this time.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. I was about to say, Singapore is, I would say, a very underrated region. We have some pros there as well. Would like to see a surprise, but from what you said, Sir Claude, you've always been like a big fan of the underdog story, and this is definitely nothing new as well. So I completely agree with you about wanting to see newer teams rise up as well. But at the same time, you are looking at teams, we talked about inconsistencies, such as teams from like Austria before as well. And, me wanting to see a little bit more from that team as well is super exciting because at one point, that team was completely going around dominating the ranks, and then other teams started to really figure out how they play, and they seem to struggle toward the end of the season as well. So I'm really hoping that they have more than one page in their playbook, when you think about it, and this goes for all teams as well. I don't want to see like a day one 1, you go completely haywire, aggressive. Week 1 is your week, and then suddenly week 2, you have no more pages in your playbook. You can't adapt, you can't keep up, and just slowly you just sort of like fall apart. And I think that is one of the biggest heartbreaks I can see from a team, and I would love to see most teams not go through that if they can.
Yeah, we love to see some level of drama as well, right? Like
Drama.
Points. Yeah, drama in terms of the points. Like keep the points tight to the last day. Keep it like as if there could be like maybe 10 teams can go for the championship or something like that, right? That would be really, really good drama. Don't you like drama, Tag?
I love drama. I was about to say, right, to add to your point, like, add like, only 1 point difference, or maybe you have a 3-way tiebreaker. That will be insane. So everyone's just glued to their screens, about to have a heart attack, and it's like, oh my god, did we make it? Because me too, man, me too.
Yeah, we all love some level of drama there, and maybe we can expect it this season because again, the stakes are super high. Everyone's going to give their 110%, even when it comes to game 1. And speaking about game 1, we're going to jump in onto Sanhok, ladies and gentlemen. Sanhok, small map, expect a lot of action. Maybe they will find out for boot camp. Let's jump into Sanhok and check it out.
Chaotic maps, that's just what it is. Now, coming into today, I think, at one point, the meta was to play at the sides of a circle. They keep a lot of teams trying to rotate inside, but I think that's changed now because everyone decides to go for that prime property instead.
Well, playing by the side, yes, like what you mentioned, looks like EVMS is going to play by the side. They're going to start around the area of Sami, Bantai, Nakam, and that's a pretty safe spot to be in, I must say. Rise is of course glued towards the 2 hotspots, Bootcamp and also Paradise Resort. We often see early fights in those 2 areas. And will there be? Well, we do see like 2 teams hovering around the area of Bootcamp, but we're going to zoom in here onto RNG and also PG, going to go up with each other.
Early damage put in already onto Jappy, but again, these early fights are never really all ins quite yet. They just take their time, maybe hopefully steal away some HP, steal away some resources from them, maybe get a knock, which is going to be huge. But again, this early fight's just too risky. Most teams don't want to risk it this early.
And what's interesting about RNG as well, just dropping some updates to our viewers, that RNG, aka Rangers, which is their long name, they are former Harame Bros. So this team is no pushover team. And the fact that they have an early encounter with PG, which is Paradise Resort, hailing from the region of Lao, it's going to be interesting to see like a new upcoming team going up against an OG lineup in the PMCL.
Oh yeah, completely agree with you. When you look at, the OG, I mean, maybe a sense of rivalry will come up. Maybe you want to prove, your org that you're, going to your ex and saying, oh, hey, I'm better. But anyway, starting off early here, we range, quick knockdown onto a player, but no follow-ups quite yet, no full commission. But they are going to be keeping a quick eye onto their teammates, hoping to bait out another player.
Yeah, and that's Beckham on the ground now, being held hostage by Range, the IGL of Rangers. And nobody's actually going for him yet. Jibna lost his patience, and he will claim that first blood out of the life of Beckham. So now 3 more players for Paradise Esports. What you gonna do now, my friend?
What's really interesting about it as well is the fact that, you're really hoping and just waiting to just bait out more players. I think the team really, RNG really wanted to go all out here. And I think about it like this, yeah? It was Jappy that took that first hit earlier, nearly dying in that beginning of that counter. But in the end of the day, they were able to come up on top. But the fight's not stopping yet. We have GX going quite aggressively, fighting 1 member already, but for them it's just about the weight.
Yeah, because right now Coca-Cola is just waiting for backup to arrive. Here comes the rest of Gen X, and it's going to be a 2v1 or maybe a 3v1 against 3. The lone player for 214. It's going to be pretty difficult for him. He needs to buy a little bit more time, but his teammates are nowhere to be found, and that one nade will knock him down.
Yeah. just like that, very, very quickly. And I think that is the high-risk moment. You do have a 3-1 formation or maybe a 1-1-2 formation. It's very high-risk, high-reward situation. But a lot of teams, they love, especially on this map, yeah, they love the idea of going hunting just a little bit, catch out these stragglers, take them away. Because at this point, every single point matters here, especially on the smaller map. You want to be able to come off away with more elimination points.
Zuki went away from Astro, so that was a pretty much a close one. Astro now pretty much alone, managed to deal a decent amount of damage onto the other side, but he's not going all in for it because his other teammates are on the lower ground. Totally understandable, so it's more of him just trying to stamp dominance on this high ground to shoo away his opponents. But now we're back on this fight again. So Paradise Esports versus Rangers. Looks like it's a bit of a standoff between the two.
No one really wants to commit. No one really here. And I'm not surprised, but surprise! Jumpy has been camping on top of that roof for quite some time. Pops his head like a jack in a box. Gets that first hit onto a member of PNG. And then suddenly, everything's just falling apart for PGN. What can you do here? Because you have players like Jibna who's just so adept at going in for that final blow.
Ooh, and Time to Quick Esports, they're passing by. Lucky for these two teams that Time to Quick Esports, they did not stop. Instead, they are on the outer side. So we'll think about them later on. I noticed as well on the elimination feed, looks like Sin is now only down to one active player. They were in the fight elsewhere. Looks like more teams are starting to get involved with fights, considering that this is a small map. So it's something that we would expect as well.
Yeah, I mean, Sin at least shooting back here, gets one to their name. Blanks completely eliminated already. At the same time, I've got to give it to these two teams. They've been here fighting for quite some time. Would I say it's a Mexican standoff? Yeah, but it's not a full commit. I got to give it to RNG. They're very patient here, taking the fights, isolating the players of PG so they're not able to play off each other here. And with that, one member just completely eats the damage from that nade. But the cost of that teammate's life here. But Lizzie Boy's not done. Shooting back, trying to put at least a little bit of damage into the team. He's all alone here right now. He cannot fight back, cannot pick up his teammates. But at the end of the day here, it's all for naught as they will be eliminated.
Well, it's not only them. Looks like KHI Esports have been eliminated as well, but at least they didn't go down empty-handed. He still managed to score 2 elimination points out of Sin, and Sin only had Emas left. That must have been a really close call.
That's what they've been fighting for quite some time as well. We saw Sin going for some prolonged fights here. They do shoot back, but it felt like in that moment in the beginning of these fights, Sin wasn't able to fight back. They're getting picked off one by one.
Yeah, but now the summary for Sin is that they only have 2 players left, so they have to play this a little bit more safer this time. So let's see how long they'll be able to last. As we switch over to the team, they qualified from Singapore. There's S69, and they're going to have a good clear route for now, that is. Probably going to play it a little bit more safer since it's game number 1 for them anyway. But for Time to Quick Esports, key position for them secured. They do have 2 players in the compound, 2 players in the high ground, so that's kind of nice. You have that option in case you need to relocate yourself into either side. Now that you have 2 players on 2 different locations.
Can you tell us a little bit of history for S69 here? I mean, it's been a while since we've seen this performance really come up. You know what? Holding that thought here. Yahiko barely dodging those bullets, and the circle pulling toward Hainan area. So most teams are going to have to go to the central area regardless of whether or not they want to. But it doesn't seem like it's going to be too hard of a rotate into the circle for the time being.
Yeah, so you mentioned about S69 earlier.
Yes,
so
their history.
The mystery. Okay, so we'll uncover the mystery. So they're from the Singaporean region, and prior to this, they played under the banner of Flash Vision Esports.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so some of the players like Master Toki and Master Riggs, they used to be there, but this time they come with a different branding. Probably they went indie, or it's a new org. So yeah, but basically these players, they do have the experience of playing in the previous season, including I remember that Snitch actually came out with a very good play last season. So he's one of those players that I'll be looking forward to see if he's able to put up a good performance again this time.
It's always exciting to see a return of a player, right? It's expectations. You have no idea how they're going to be catching up to the meta. You don't know how much their skills have deteriorated or even gotten better in the sidelines as well. So that is something that I'm very excited to see. We were just talking about them. Look at that, NBX in trouble. Players knocked down one by one like flies.
Ooh, okay, and they only have 2 active players now. Now that we have them on screen, looks like XZXY will be the next one to fall, leaving NB with only 2 players left. And they're on the other side, so they won't be involved in any of these fights. Anyway, the point is given away to their opponents. SG, they scored 3 eliminations so far in total.
It was honestly so swift. We were just talking about them. Felt like there was a buff, Sir Cloud. But anyways, coming back to my point is that, it seemed so quick how they were able to move together here. And I wish we could have seen how exactly they decided to move as a team. But as of right now, seeing how they've positioned themselves, I think they may have choked them.
Yeah, it could be possible, right? And maybe it's not only them. There perhaps could be another team on the other side. That's why they couldn't really relocate to somewhere safer, because by now, surely a lot of these key areas would have been taken by the teams themselves. Just like Burmese goals, for example. This high ground is a key area as long as it's within the circle, of course. You have this high ground, you have the option of going down to this low ground where there's a warehouse, and it gives you extra cover as well. So Burmese goals so far, good start with their location. So pretty much, I guess from what we are seeing right now, a lot of these teams have already secured key spots for them to be at. Perhaps the next big fight might happen in maybe stage 3 onwards.
That will be really exciting, honestly, because, surprisingly, we talked about this last season as well, Sir Cloud, about the Sanok map. We always see aggression coming in, just a minor aggression coming in the first circle, and then just has to lull down. People just starting to wait for an idea on where to rotate, just waiting on that circle, because it does cover, the first 2-3 circles just cover like a big amount of ground here on this map. But
yeah, and plus this circle is somewhat in the middle of the map, right? So you kind of have some wiggle room to play. Although there's this big river in between, but I guess the teams would decide on whether they want to cross over, coming into maybe stage 3, depending on where the circle will go. But on the elimination feed we saw earlier, your prediction for the day, Osja, looks like one of the players got knocked out but not eliminated yet, so it could probably be a long reach now.
Could be. As long as there's no follow-up, we can already kind of safely assume it's not going to happen. Okay, here we go. Map feeds happening here. Looking at teams right now, I think RNG is being very smart, holding on to 2 areas of the main area. But I think they can already pretty much have an idea that they should be moving over their players to the main land, or at least the bigger island to the right. But for GTQ here, becoming the gatekeepers, keeping the rest of the team out. The same could be said about the rest now, as now Sin is in trouble with GX coming through, taking away so much space as well. CQC, in terms of fights right now, Sin is all alone, fending for his life. Chase, just some preemptive sprays in the front side here, making sure that his teammates are not able to fully find him in the end. But like it or not, Fool and Elmas cannot hold on here. Fool, alone. Unfortunately for him, that last shot is just not going to land. So for his team, going to go down. But with 4 elims, a decent ending for them.
And that's going to be Sin. Unfortunately eliminated. Though they scored 4 elimination points before they went out. So as a first game, it's still alright. But I see the next encounter here. Okay, let's evaluate this. So Osja on one side, their opponents on the other side, that's going to be Team Max. And because both of these teams are in the circle, well, at most they'll be just poking each other.
In Malay, we call it apa? Suntikan manja.
I don't know any suntikan that is manja. I don't know what sort of jab have you been getting that is how do you translate manja?
Manja.
Oh.
Sorry, I've been spending so much time with my friend, so I'm learning all of these new terms.
Oh, the Gen Z terms.
I don't know if it's Gen Z, but anyway, hopefully it is, regardless. Moving into this game, oh, here we go. That's Master Mix. You said he has a lot of history behind his name. Yeah,
played with, he played with RTC before this as well, so Definitely not his first showing here at the PMCL. He does have the experience, although generally teams from the Singaporean region has not really been showing up that much. So hopefully this time they will be able to put up a good performance and come up with a good surprise. But I stand corrected. So he played with Flash Vision before. RTC was when he did not play, so he kind of lapsed one season. But maybe that lapse, he would have gone through a vigorous training. But speaking about vigorous training, Burmese goals with their training in hand, they managed to score one. But while the players got speed, now knocked down.
It's really good because they were trying to rotate into that circle, thought it was all the way out here in the open, but BG was very patient, playing behind cover, playing with the terrain as well, getting one knockdown as well. But for the rest of the team there in trouble with PBMS, what are you going to do here? You're stuck in the corner, blue zone pushing toward you, not a lot of cover to work with, your teammates bleeding to death. It's either you go out in the open, you take this fight, or you go down to that blue zone, and it feels dire right now.
Going to be super duper hard, right? Yeah, and Ryman is being picked up at this point, but they don't have time. They don't have the space. Oh, look at the rush in here from the side. The team actually came here. It's going to be Gen X coming in. They want those points for themselves. They're willing to take that bit of a risk, even though Burmese goes is just right in front, gatekeeping all these teams.
They are feeling very confident. Look at how aggressively they are moving up here, out there in the open, taking up space, denying more space for PBM to even move together here. Gonna be easy to pick up Godspeed, so it shouldn't be a problem here. And his teammates are providing that backline cover fire in case they do decide to push out here for the rest. But the same could be said about TTQ. They're slowly trying to traverse the way onto this high ground.
Everyone wants to go to the high ground looking at this kind of circle. Let's see who will be the king of the high ground. But PBE, MSI have been eliminated, unfortunately. Same goes for NB as well, out at number 11. We're starting to see teams falling out like flies. 10 more teams to go. And at the side, Burmese goals, they managed to pick up Godspeed. They're back as a 4.
That's what you want, that strength in numbers, firepower extremely high as well. They are still currently at disadvantage. At least two of them is in the lower ground, and Unknown is in trouble at the very least. But manages to keep himself alive here. His vehicle should go off very, very soon as well. So, he has to just vacate the area for the time being. But TTQ, I love what they're doing right now, keeping the street together, keeping an eye out on not only BG, but also they have some sort of cover they can just fall back to.
Both Time to Quit Esports and Burmese goals. These are two very, very experienced teams. And of course, a very experienced player here, EG on screen, lobs a nade across onto Time to Quit Esports. Able to clip a bit of health out of Zuki. Not able to get a knock yet. Second nade set across, but nobody's behind the tree.
Lots of gunfire sounds here as well, but these two teams, they need to take this fight. They want to be able to basically go through the gold, go through the guard to be able to get into the circle area itself. And once you're at the high ground here, that middle area where outside of Painan would be huge, because it's not only a high ground, it gives you so much space as well in terms of people rotating either from the northern side or even the western side.
Yeah, and Rangers, they have the best success there since nobody's going to stop them from going up to the high ground. But right now, Master Ichi is going to stop Zuki from moving forward. Let's get a knockdown. Try to kill Master Ichi. They sent a molly, they sent a nade, but none of them connected at all.
It's great because he's just trying to isolate fights using that one rock here, and Unknown somehow managed to just move back, fall back relatively unscathed here. But BG's not done. Understands that he's pushing it, and decides to just crunch and completely spray the heck out of the rest of TTQ. Zuki falls. His teammates needs to go a little bit more aggressive as well, as Zuki eventually will be stolen away from Godspeed. But BG, they're not done. They're aware that the Singaporean team are right behind them.
And that's going to be Silence Got Esports up on that high ground. Could stop them from coming in further. Burmese goals will feel the wrath of the blue as right now is starting to close. As for Silent God Esports, with the high ground advantage, they'll be able to farm and eliminate the points here. But Burmese goes there ready to get away, but from the side, it's going to be Bunny knocking one down. But Nathan, from afar, takes out Bunny instead.
TTQ has done a phenomenal job of surviving, but unfortunate for them, no points as well. They took up so many fights, but no kill confirmed. And the rest for Silent Gods here, they're just slowly making their way to their fellow Filipino teams. Austria waiting on the top side, full control of that area as well. They need to go up in the open. They need to have an element of surprise somehow, but Austria's positioning is making it so hard for them to be able to take up these fights.
And looks like the fight will continue on with Silence God on the outside of the circle. Being gate kept right now by Oscar. Oscar looking around for more targets, but at the same time, Jane knocked down. Minor knock on the outside of the blue. Look at this blue, it's chasing them down right now. Caps, there will not be much time. There will not be enough time for them to pick him up. And Oscar will eliminate Silence God Esports.
Love how they position themselves behind rocks, behind the tree line as well. The top side of that terrain gave them so much value. They were so dominant in making sure that their area will not be breached, but now the circle will eventually pull away from them. Eventually, it's going to be the players inside of Painan, the ones with the compounds that are going to come up on top here. It's going to be, I cannot really say unfortunately what team that is, but you want to be able to take away or breach away that compound from them.
And right now, Nadi is waiting inside of the circle. They still have stage 6 circle. Now, there are a couple of teams that don't have the circle across the road. You can see at least 2 of them here. On screen is going to be Gen X, and they need to cross the road. They're going to make them move right now. Taking a bit of risk without that smoke bridge, but they managed to infiltrate the same building as their opponent. Now, it's going to be a 2v2 fight. Let's go.
Oh, I was just waiting for that right moment here. I'm pretty sure they've already heard the sounds of footsteps here from GX, but one thing I love about GX is how aggressive they can be in terms of wanting to take away the space. The only thing separating them right now are these 2 compound areas, and it's hard to really determine how exactly you want to push into OF. They have the strength in numbers. You have no clue which corner they're holding onto. If you walk into a crossfire instead of a CQC, that will spell death.
Oh, this is spell death here for Unknown, who's up there at the sniper tower, burned out by Nathan from Rangers. Here comes Rangers, moving away from Painan, trying to go up to the high ground. Burmese goals, eliminated. With 5 elimination points, some of the players take it up in the zone. And right now, we have Rangers, unstoppable. They're already at 10 elimination points.
Ooh, they're looking so good right now. Those early fights just really propelled them forward, and they feel really hot right now, especially on this map 1. Bounce 1 knock already onto the member of Austria. So they need to just really recollect themselves, go for that reset they want to. Dubdiko, I don't think he's going to be able to be picked up, so they're just going to let him die at the very least. In terms of numbers, Austria right now dwindling down to only 2. So not the best position to be in, but they do have at least 1 advantage, which is the high ground.
Oh, and the circle favors Rangers. Pulls down to the southern side. Immediately giving that circle advantage towards them, but these 2 teams on screen do not have circle advantage. Going to be On Fire Squad versus Gen X. Gen X Coca-Cola. That's right on the outside of this building. And the landing shot to the SLK goes in. Looks to the right, he checked his corner, but he could not land a shot. And it's going to be On Fire Squad, still on fire.
Yeah, but now they're in trouble as the blue zone is just slowly pushing toward them. They have to go for that reset. They need to pick up. I don't know. Yep, no time, so he's going to go down to the circle. And Natty, desperate times call for desperate measures. No, not enough for him to stay alive. 4 eliminations for them, 4th place. Great start.
Well, that leaves us now with 3 teams left. And look at this, man. Rangers, a full squad, going up against 1 active player from Moscow right now. Tom is currently down. It's going to be all in on the Maniacs. Rangers, they want to claim their first chicken dinner, and they will. Rangers from the Philippines will score the first chicken dinner PMCL this season.
That is amazing looking at them, how aggressive they were in how they want to deal with teams dropping on top of the same spot as them, going aggressive, playing as a team, separating their fights, very patient early as well. And then toward the end, staying alive as a 4 was their priority, and they were able to just run away with so many points as well. Count-off looks really good for them, it looks really great on them. Congratulations for them with a great opening for this season. I am excited to see how they will fare onto the bigger maps.
Oh, absolutely right, absolutely. The bigger maps, and of course, when we roll in Group E as well, because Group E, we do have the champions, Young Group Galacticos, in that group. But of course, we'll look at that later, because in our next map is going to be still the same grouping. Anyway, for Rangers, congratulations to them. It's not only about this chicken dinner, but they also managed to score more than 10 eliminations. Was it like what, 12 or 13? Look at the numbers on the board too.
Yeah. Now, looking at Jappy, I have to say, I think for this team, every player has a role, right? And it feels like every role was doing their job, pulling their own weight. But Nathan, you can see the amount of eliminations that he has. It's not flashy, it's not aggressive, but it's more of like his team setting him up for success, which is what we want to see. Not great at cleaning up house. Jaffe great at being the first contact player, and Range becoming the back line, providing that support his teammates need to take a little bit more space. Love to see this dynamic.
Well, beat Nathan's stats dash. Look at this. 5 eliminations, 502 damage, the highest of them all, but 0 damage taken. This guy is invincible this round. He can frag at the same time. Nobody can touch him at all. I mean, try to beat this stat.
Can't. At least not now. So this is a very hot start. I think it's a very statement start from this team as well. You start off great, you have an idea, and you completely dominate. Yeah, I think one of the scariest teams about being hot really early is that you do, run away with your strategy a bit too early. But over time, I truly believe on how they play, how they have this synergy with each other. You are able to just, play off each other, not only that, and adapt well as well. So I'm really hoping to see that.
And we're taking the highlights before the score, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, and here is the match ranking for game number 1. So it's going to be pretty easy to calculate since, it's only game number 1, right? So Rangers with the 12 eliminations and the Chicken Dinner, that's 22 points, putting them on top right now, followed by Gen X with 10 points. Only 2 teams that managed to score a double-digit overall points for game 1. What's interesting is that Sin is here on page 1 without any place on points. So they bank on elimination points to be up there, which is absolutely fine because at the end of the day, it's about points collected. It doesn't matter how you do it.
I completely agree with you, and I think because we talked about this so many times about how sometimes you can get more elimination points, just really boost you forward. Placement is something you can find balance for, but if you can go aggressive, if you are completely high risk, high reward style play, and it rewards you, why not, right? So looking at how aggressively some of these teams play, I think they have an idea on what to expect for Sanok. I believe that some teams like say Boom Esports before this have an idea that they want to go aggressive, they want to go hunt for kills, and that's exactly what they want to do. And I wouldn't be surprised if many of these teams have an idea like, okay, I think placement points might be a bit hard for this map, let's try and go for the next best option here. So knowing that for teams like Sin, like RNG, they have an idea on, or an objective rather, on how exactly they want to approach this map is something to, I would say, take note of.
Yeah, well, teams that need to take note of is going to be Time to Put Esports, Nexus Vanguards, and also Paradise Esports, since they went out this round without any points at all. So next round will be a redemption round for them, since we will be rolling the same group again after this. So the same teams will be meeting each other, of course, in a new map, and it's going to be the first time all these teams will meet inside of Erangel. Again, it's going to be the same conversation whether a team will want to try to take over a hot drop spot from anyone else.
Yeah, completely agree with you as well. Now, I think that it's hard to really, in terms of if we want to give power ranking, we want to give an idea what to expect for next game, I think for day 1, or rather looking at Sanok, it's hard to really give a gauge on what to expect you to see. But, again, about what I said about RNG still stands. The idea of how they played as a team, their team dynamics, their, how they move together is already something that I think a lot of people are going to be keeping an eye on as well. Regardless, into the top 4 here, these are the stats coming through here as well. Look at the distance traveled here. GX, as well as GX Austria, as well as Max did travel a lot more further than RNG, which means that in terms of drop spot, RNG did have a bit of advantage in terms of, having to rotate less. fights. But at the same time, for them, having that less rotations doesn't mean they hold on. They decide to go aggressive and take fights, which is what we love to see.
Yeah, and what I love to see about Team Max here is their eliminations. 4 eliminations, but 400 plus damage output. So it's almost 1 elimination. Well, whoever they shoot, whoever they get, basically. But Nathan from Rangers, he shoots, he scores. It's gonna be hard to beat this stat. 5 eliminations, 502 damage. But the key highlight stat here is 0 damage taken. No doubt with this kind of stat, he is definitely the MVP in Game 1.
Oh yeah, completely agree with you. A lot of pre-fires coming through as well, a lot of holds. This team is very patient as well. They're almost like, like hunters, right? They see, they pray, they don't have to go super aggressive. Wait for them, especially that shot from Jappy just up on top of that building was really terrifying to see. Regardless, we're going to be going to Erangel after this, so do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. I open it. Welcome back, everyone. Intense Sanok just now, completely surprising us all. RNG showing us what they've got early, but can the teams really rally back is the question. Anyways, this is a PMCL, Spring, Southeast Asia. Anyways, I'm Touch alongside Star Cloud, your casters for today. Now, coming into the bigger map, you're going to be looking at Erangel.
Yes, so the OG map that, well, every player would have played it. I mean, if you have not played Iranga before, well, you clearly have not played any PUBG Mobile, so kind of log in into the game and play some Iranga at least. But expectations wise, because it's going to be the first Iranga that this group will be meeting each other, right? So it's going to be kind of hard to tell, like, who's going to meet each other. Is Pachinki going to be a hard fight? Is Rosal going to be a hard fight? Is School going to be a hard fight? I mean, these areas are in the center of the map.
Yeah.
Perhaps we can expect teams to maybe fight for the right to be in those areas.
But yeah, you want to see early fights. I wouldn't be surprised if teams are going to be, testing the waters, trying to figure out if they're going to be able to wrestle away these spots. End of the day, right? I think for a lot of teams, they have an idea where to drop. They have their, their reverse drop spot as well in case something were to happen. Flight paths are not handled dropping for them as well. Excuse me, I cannot English today for some reason. But moving into that as well, you already see an idea of how some teams are playing here. A lot of teams, I believe, are loving that idea of playing aggressive, going for elimination. But we saw that on Sanok. I wouldn't be surprised if that same mindset came here as well, especially the Filipino teams. They love to play aggressive. They love that little edge on early fights as well. So this is something I'm looking forward to see. Rather than a slower pace for the beginning of the map, I want to see some early fights. So, as you said, Sir Cloud, you love aggression. I love aggression. And you are rooting for the underdog story. Maybe me too. Who knows?
Yeah, and I would love to see the underdog teams really making it through, right? So let's see. Because now we're still at the group stages. So there's 16 slots? That's a whole ton of slots there that teams can eye for. So to a certain extent, well, of course you have starting points later on, but to a certain extent, whether you're number 1 or number 16, it's still fine as long as you see the light of day at the grand finals, because the grand finals is where it all matters, because there will be the ticket towards Esports World Cup. It will be happening in the middle of this year in Riyadh, and of course, there's a huge chunk of prize pool there waiting for the teams. And I believe the other day I was just looking over some of the numbers, right? Like, even if you're at the last place, you still get a lot of money from Esports World Cup prize pool. So that is something that the players will be eyeing for.
Yeah, it's a prestigious title if you think about it. It's not only just a prize pool, it's you're putting your name on the map here globally as well. I think for a lot of teams, especially regardless of whether you're going to be on the bigger stage, smaller stage, or anything like that, when you start pro play, you want to be able to play against the best in the world. You want to be able to play up there, and being in Esports World Cup is definitely, I would say, proof of that, other than going to PMGC at the end of the year, right? Now, when you look at the teams as well, now as we move into Erangel, I think we're going to be looking at A, B, C, and D, as you said before. It's going to be the same rotations again. So most of these teams, well, all of these teams, excuse me, are going to be very, very warmed up. They have played Sanok as well. They have an idea on how to play with each other. But, as you said just now, Sir Cloud, you don't know about these drop spots on these areas, right? So there is that question mark for all of these teams. The nerves are going to be shaking, okay, what are we going to be expecting? Are we going to be expecting early fights? How are we going to be prepping against that? Because we have seen teams that do have a protocol on how to deal with hot drops, but what about teams that get caught off guard?
Yeah, so that's where the fun begins, right? It's like, you don't know what's going to happen. Same goes for the teams as well. They wouldn't know, are they going to meet another team? Are they not going to meet another team? And that's what makes it exciting. The unknown is what makes it exciting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you always know, okay, if you open a pack of rice and you already expect that, okay, it's going to be curry there, it's going to be maybe a piece of chicken there, then it's it's nothing exciting. But imagine, Tash, I send you a pack of rice not knowing what's in it. Would you be excited?
If I opened a pack of rice and I found noodles, I'm going to be like, Cloud, you betrayed me. I was expecting rice.
Hey, and that's where the fun is, right? But it makes it even more fun. What if I tell you that, Tash, I send you a pack of rice and you open its ice cream?
Oh, that one I like. That one I like.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. Because it's it was supposed to be a meal, but instead I got dessert, and I love dessert. You know what I'm saying?
We're not going to start the whole ice cream thing again, and both of us end up getting ice cream after
I
the show.
feel like we're gonna end the day with ice cream again this time. I wouldn't be surprised. It's such an us thing, no?
Oh no, Tash, you're doing it again. You're implanting it right now. If any of our viewers actually, like, maybe, who knows, right? Like, after the show, they get ice cream for themselves. Do tag us on social media. We'd like to see what sort of ice cream you'd like to. And if actually Tash's hypnosis actually work out all of you as well.
Ooh, like that, okay, faham. Okay, now coming into today, let's talk a little bit more about the teams, the players. I mean, out of all these teams, I mean, we talked a little bit about Singapore just now, what we expected for them, wanting to see them rise to the top. I mean, it's rare to see have a season where we have more than maybe 2 or 3, Singaporean teams. Seeing one there, it's just making us already happy. The representation that we're seeing there is already exciting. But Sir Cloud, I think you talked a little bit about expectations for the team as well. And I know we've only seen one map played by S69. In just maybe from that glance of the game, right? Can you give us a hypothesis on how they would do?
Ooh, for S69, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, they are an experienced lineup, and I personally do like Snitch from what I've seen last season. He did put off a highlight play last season. It was a solo chicken dinner run, and he actually did it for the team that time because he was playing with RTC. So yeah, I mean, if he's able to pull off that sort of gameplay last season, and coupled with like these experienced players like Master Toki, Master Riggs, even Labo, who we have seen before in previous editions of PMCL, I believe this is the season for them to come up, go, reach to the grand finals, and then who knows, snatch that EWC slot. If a Singaporean team goes to EWC, it is groundbreaking. Because we have never had that before, a Singaporean team on the international stage in PUBG Mobile esports, and if they can do it, wow, man, that would make me really happy seeing a team that maybe people wouldn't expect actually making it.
Yeah, I think it's a really fun run if you think about it. In terms of representation, there's only one team there. It's like, beating the impossible, carrying all the odds on your back, making it to the top. It's also very exciting to see as well. So yeah, I completely agree with you. I would love to be able to see that, just to see in terms of representation as well. But coming into today as well, I think we can say what you said about Laos, right? I mean, Laos as well. They don't have a lot of representation, especially onto the stage this season as well. But can you share with me a little bit about what we can expect to see? I mean, Paradise Esports logo. What do you want to see, or rather, what do you know about them?
Well, what's interesting about Lao and their lineup, right, is that they do have an experienced player called Honda. Who has played in the professional stage before, and I believe that he represented the country during the SEA Games in Cambodia. Wow. As well, yeah. So you have a player who is like international standard within their lineup, and then you have like there used to be a player called Beckham back in the day. So I'm still wondering, is this the same Beckham as before? And I'm not referring to the football Beckham, of course. I'm referring to the PUBG Mobile esports Beckham. So at least 2 familiar names that I've seen before in the lineup of Paradise Esports, and the rest of them they are pretty new names to me, so I don't really have much information on their background. But I also want to point out the fact that in their lineup, they also have this player called Caesar. And fun fact, Caesar is from Thailand and is playing with a Lao team. So Tash, this is something that I discovered with a Lao friend.
Okay.
Apparently, people from Lao, they are able to speak Thai as well.
Wait, really?
Yeah, so they can communicate like
it's just so easy.
To communicate.
Yeah. This is new to me. Well, TIL, today I learned something which is super exciting as well. I was about to ask you, how they communicate in terms of language, but that's solved already as well. And I love the idea of seeing more players be imported. I mean, it's nothing new, right? Especially toward the PMSL stage as well. We're starting to see players from Malaysia and Indonesia just sort of move countries, across the river, which is also very exciting because I think for a long time, when you look at a lot of teams here, they love to play with their local players. So the idea that, players are being moved around as well shows us that, maybe some form of you don't know how another country or another region plays. You bring a little bit of the spice from that certain country into your team, give a little bit of a change up in your team's playstyle, just really surprise people, and allows you for so much adaptability and different perspectives as well, which is honestly very exciting to me.
Yeah, the sugar, spice, and everything, maybe not so nice, depending on who's fighting against them.
Yeah.
But they did have a good start, though, in Sanhok. But, well, if we were to give them, some leeway, their first fight in Sanhok, they were up against Rangers, who eventually scored the chicken dinner. So you can kind of tell yourself that, you know what, we lost the fight against a team that eventually scored the chicken dinner. So it's like, it's okay. We can still make it happen in the following round. So I
Yeah.
don't think Paradise Esports has been given the space or that room to show what they can do best. But in a bigger map like Irango, maybe it's their time to shine.
Yeah, and I know that when you talk about Sanhok, it's such a different dynamic when it comes to playstyle, speed, and tempo as well. Some teams are just, they just don't prefer smaller maps. They just try it on bigger maps, and we've seen it happen many, many times. They have really, rough times on Sanhok, but completely dominate when it comes to Miramar and Durango. Regardless, coming into this bigger map, as you said before, there's a lot of expectations coming out here. This is where you can really gauge the power levels of most of these teams in terms of playstyle, in terms of rotations, adaptability. Day one is a day of getting to know each other. This is the day where you have to really know how to adapt.
Yeah, and let's see if the teams are able to adapt right now, because it's going to be the first Irango for this season, featuring the same teams from the Sanhok match. And Irango, it's a very balanced map, but can they show balancing here? Let's go.
You want to get to know each other on this map. You want to get to know how to play off each other on this map as well. This is the day where everything's being put to the test. You're going in blank slate, nothing to go off of, unless it's gods from in the last few seasons.
Yeah, we're going to pop off the flight path here from the north side of shooting range all the way down to military base. And speaking about military base, as always, I love to see a military base circle. I wouldn't mind the entire day is like a military base circle. I love it. I love it as much as you love ice cream.
Betul lah. Correct lah. I can agree with you lah. Now I'm just seeing two teams dropping up towards the northern side already, which I'm super excited to see. That'll be Saverni that maybe is going to be contested, unless of course S69 decides to drop elsewhere. Rozhok, as you predicted, is going to be a very, very busy city as well. So wow.
Yeah, so Rozhok, we see a couple of teams actually flying that direction. I see Burmese goals on top of it, and they're probably going to land directly into Rozhok. Pochinki looks like it's going to be only Rangers. So the Big Four is actually taking the center of the map, so that's pretty confident of them, and no other team seems to be challenging them for Rozhok. Circle-wise, going to be centered around Yasnaya, so it's going to be a okay circle. But we're going to head up north right now to Saverni, where we have two different teams here.
I agree with you as well. Now, Saverni, I'm quite surprised that two teams decided to drop there. I was maybe expecting maybe one of the teams decided to move elsewhere, maybe towards Stalber, maybe toward, Yasnaya, but that didn't happen. So, I expect it's going to be a very intense fight here over on this side, but because there's so many compounds, which means that this aggression will be halted momentarily.
Yeah, so it looks like what you say, right? Because it's a compound fight, it's an urban warfare, so everyone's going to take their own corner. And that includes S69 here. And Gen X on the other side. So let's see who will come out on top. But S69, they do have an option to exit down south. Since they are by the roadside, they should be able to get a vehicle. And let's see if they're still going to stay here to try to challenge their opponent and maybe try to pick up more points. This could be an opportunity for them. I mean, it's also a way to see things, right? Like whether you want to see the cup half full or half empty is totally up to you.
Yeah.
You can see it as an opportunity to gain eliminations, or maybe an opportunity to, I don't know, just stall time and get away.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can just decide to be like, you know what, we like early fights, let's just go for it. Why not, right? Now, looking at the map feed, I'm seeing a lot of teams that are just not in the circle quite yet. I'm quite surprised at how busy it is to the northwest side of the island of the map as well. Zarki, we have a team there, it's just KHI. We're looking at two teams over the northern and southern side of Georgia Paul as well, which is also super exciting. Gatka completely empty, not empty, sorry, except for Austria as well. So some of these teams, like as you said just now, right? The team that dropped in Pochinki, very high risk situation, but you have no clue who's going to be dropping there. So you decide to play high risk, high reward, and you're going to be highly rewarded for it.
Yeah, high risk, high reward is the key, right? Especially for teams like who have not scored that many eliminations or that many points in the previous round, and you want to play a bit of a catch up. So it looks like they are planning to go for the high risk, high reward sort of gameplay. And both teams locked into Yasnaya, into Saverni, not getting out yet. But I guess that's also because like the first circle, stage 1 circle is still within it. So naturally they would have a bit more time for them to play. But Master Toki from S69 decided to go out and scout, grab a vehicle. Probably going to come back to pick up his teammates.
I think this is good. I mean, you want to go out scout, you want to be able to go for a loot, you want to be able to see if anyone's just, hanging around the checkpoints close by as well. So it helps if you think about it. Now, I'm also looking at your favorite area here, Sir Cloud, which is SMB. One team has completely taken over that area, and they're just completely walking around the island, taking their time. It's so open, so free for them. But my worry about this particular team is if they decide to rotate toward the northern side as well. And NX, when you think about it, they have a PBM just hanging around the southern side of farm, watching the eastern bridge like a hawk. Could spell doom.
Oh, this could spell doom for S69 because another player actually left, leaving only 2 players here. So if GX, they have that information, they know that it's a good time for them to try to rush in. But okay, here comes Cabo to pick up the other 2 members. Okay, they are out of here. All right, so looks like they decided not to stay. But it's played by Nero. Anything out is a lot of damage onto S69. One more spray at S69. They would drive off to the sunset.
Barely surviving by the skin of their teeth too. That was very, very high risk. They could potentially have lost 2 players in that particular scuffle. But you know what? They paid off. They got another vehicle on top of that as well. So props to them.
Yeah, so they decided to just leave, which is okay. Because if we kind of looked at their utilities, I don't think they have much to loot because they were cornered in Saverni. So you might as well leave there, go somewhere else, loot, and see you in the final stages. So that's absolutely fine.
We're starting to see those rotations come in as well toward the eastern side of the circle. I think teams are starting to move upwards. PBM as well has already started to move up here. So the area of Pharma Milta completely empty. So NX can take their time. If they just want to rotate up here, they can go for a later rotation if they want to as well. Could be massive for them. Now, I'm also kind of curious to see, but I'm just kind of surprised that we're not seeing early aggression come out as well. Especially teams that are dropping in the same spot as each other. It's not really a full commit onto these fights.
Yeah, nobody's really putting in a full commitment yet, right? I guess, the theory, we mentioned, because it's day 1. Everyone wants to kind of feel the ground, feel how the other teams play, so they don't want to overcommit. And plus, we're still at 16 teams, 64 players. If you go out at this stage, it's going to be 0 placement points.
Yeah.
So you don't want to take that risk, and it will truly hurt, like what you said.
I mean, granted, TTQ, NX, and PG, especially for them, I think this map particularly matters. It's not too far away to play catch-up. Talked about aggression early. We did see a bit of Grand Theft Auto action as we are looking at OF just pass by each other. It's just loot sprays, but never really full commits. Now, coming back to my point here is that these 3 teams, they want to be able to survive. They want to be able to get some form of point here as Suki, gonna spot up 1, steals away his life as well, to give themselves at least some points. PBM, so Sarimon is gonna fall, but it is going to be traded out here. So teams losing 1 for 1, and TTQ, they're just completely collapsing, rushing out forward here. PBM, they cannot hold on. Sarimon still needs to be picked up. I don't think it's going to be happening as the rest of the team is just going to completely scatter.
Yeah, looks like they're going to have to leave Raimon behind. Unfortunately, if they really want to go for it, well, then they have to try to get a long reach knock on the members of TTQ. We have one more here scoping them down, trying to find a good opportunity, but Raimon finally will be eliminated by Suki. Oh boy, trying to get a revenge knock at least, but not able to land enough damage. Now he has to leave.
Lost 2 in the initial scuffle as well, so It's not a great situation when you lose 2 this early. I mean, it's a 2-for-1 trade, like it or not. It's still a loss on your side. Losing 2 members, losing a lot of firepower as well. But there is an upside to this as well. You can play a little bit more passive. You can just play CQC. You can camp, go for long range kills if you want to. Just survive all the way. Just maybe get a few pickoffs toward the end of the few circles. Maybe get the top 4, top 5. That's enough for them already.
So as long as you're able to survive for top 5, definitely what will come together with it is elimination points. So when you bundle them up together, it should be pretty decent. And plus with it's day 1, so you want to kind of try to keep some level of pace. Yeah, it's always cool to be at number 1, but if you are in the middle in day number 1, okay, because there's still many more days to go with many more games to play. But on the elimination feed, looks like we do have a couple of eliminations happening, and that's actually around the
Yeah, the rotations right now as well. A lot of teams just really rushing toward the circle, but one team that's not really taking their time is Austria, just taking their time playing to the side here. Same could be said about 2 and 4. Deciding to go a little bit late could be a strat as well. You're going to be missing out on a lot of these early rotations and teams, but fights are going to happen. PHI and S9 just going full on out war right now. Lavo taking a lot of he's rushing in with his teammates. Door broken already. 1 member knocked down as Lavo runs away with a point. PHI, they want to shoot back, but it's not going to be easy as well. You can't really point out where the other members are as S9 decides to play hand-holding with each other. It's a perfect nade, and Lavo steals another life to his team, but they're not done. Yanks throwing in the shot, beautifully coming out forward, but will be knocked out. Demi was last man standing. Can he hold on?
Yes.
No, he can't! And Master Rex gonna just completely go haywire crazy with 3 eliminations in this scuffle, and they're able to reset all 4 alive.
Yeah, S69, they did not lose a single player in that fight, but they gained 4 eliminations. Nice rush in there into Yasnaya to finish off KHI, but KHI, too bad for them. They go out without a single point, so now they remain at pretty much the very bottom. And the fact that we still have Texas Vanguards, and we also have a PG still in the game, there is a possibility that KHI will be pushed down even further.
Yeah, NB has a nice area as well near the Yasnaya Poliana, holding on 2 areas. Here we have 2 players, a 2-2 formation where we have 2 of their players holding on the outer side, hoping to see if anyone's just rotating out, scouting first, but the other 2 holding on to the inner side. My question for NB right now is that we have a full team 2-for-1 rushing up into them as well. So it is going to be a 2 versus 4. That is my concern here.
Oh, my concern is for the final player of On Fire squad.
That's true.
And the blue is alone, and if he goes out now, no placement points, only 1 elimination point, and I wonder how far he is from the circle. Speaking about the circle, we see the circle shift. Going to be still a kind circle on the outskirts of Yasnaya, in between Yasnaya as well as mentioned. The teams will definitely be hitting there. That includes 214, who's still on the northern side of the island.
Oh yeah. They go to the northern side, they're going to be in trouble. 2 players of NB waiting. They go to the southern side, same thing as well. But right now, looking at SG, they have a huge chunk of area of Yasnaya Poliana in their control. And, for them, this is massive. This is huge because they're right smack dab in the circle. They have a compound as well. They're holding on 2 sides of the street toward the middle side. So if anyone were to cross, they could take advantage of that as well. But at the same time, with S69 coming out forward, they could potentially be going into a fight just to wrestle off that control of the big area they're holding.
And here comes Burmese goals. They want to hold the northern side of this circle. They're splitting up, trying to get the information as possible. And here are the players from Nexus Vanguards trying to guard the entry point. But on the other side, now we have Michi all alone for 214, surrounded by NB. And there's no way he's going to be able to get out of this. He will be knocked down in the blue.
Yeah, that's just really unfortunate. I mean, we talked about the rotations as well. I was concerned about NB, about how they're going to be holding on here, but they were quick to relay the information, and the other 2 rotated forward, rendezvoused with each other, and immediately took this fight. But NB, they still have things to say. 2-4, going to lose another player as well. They want to take this fight in this blue, holding on here, becoming the gatekeeper, and 2-4, they have lost 3 members being knocked out. The other player says, okay, sayonara for now. I cannot pick up my teammates. All I can do right now is survive.
But newborns would make sure that these knockdown players will not survive. But at the same time, I guess they're still on the chase. But we switch over right now to Burmese goals. It looks like ET is in trouble. Right now going up against GX. ET all low, 40% of health. ET tries to fight back. They done. Gets one player somewhere else. At the same time, ET goes up, but immediately knocked back down with the DBS by Sin.
We gotta give it to Sin. I mean, he managed to just juke all of those nades, but they also have another protocol in mind if they decide to go aggressive, which is gonna be met with the DPS to the face. So for them, this is huge. Another big fight happening here right in front of us. RNG, the kings of Sanhok in the previous map, and they are not slowing down. Aggressive as ever. Paradise is just going to be completely obliterated here. Isn't it deja vu on how it happened? Because RNG dropped them early last map, and they dropped them again this map as well. So, like it or not, Paradise, they're going to have to figure out, Paradise Esports, they're going to have to figure out a different way to just not meet against this team because they're not winning their fights.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's twice in a row that they met, and Paradise did not win against them. But Rangers, they already have 5 eliminations. But now we're going to put focus on the Lion. You arrive onto the compound where, well, there's another team there, so it's going to be a one. Wait, what? Did you actually win that?
That's crazy.
Esports? You actually did? You pulled off a solo clutch? Man, I want to see a replay on that.
Me too, man. Me too. That was insane. I think he knew how to play it, hurt the vehicle, and just kept quiet, just completely blew it off. And just like that, he got 2, completely overtaking the other teams. He's just making the impossible happen right now, which is what we love to see. These solo plays, to see how long you're going to be able to survive. Regardless, right now, NB talked about how aggressive they were, how they will be able to fight earlier, but they're not able to hold on. They're slowly dying off like flies. But for Silent Gamers, they're still aggressive. GX, what are you going to do here?
Yeah, and we also have a GX here with a nade onto them. It came from Miner. One more nade onto Claude. Claude is in trouble. But first, he will focus on picking out his teammate, popping up that smoke just to give a little bit more protection. The third nade will knock at that 4th nade as well, so he's still fine for now. He'll be back up real soon. But now, newborns will be going up against NX. And here we go. The fight's happening with Z. He has to leave the compound. He's on the outer side right now, navigating around the smoke.
Oh my god.
And here comes the rest of NX. And looks like newborns will be reborn again in the next round.
Newborns weren't able to hold. They were completely choked. They couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't run. They were surrounded from all corners here. And for NX, I had a bit of concern of them trying to breach the compound, but they have different ways of dealing with it. They had a late rotation coming in from Super Loki. They didn't need him in the end, but making sure that your backs were completely covered and also having that extra layer in terms of firepower is massive, and that landed them that W.
And that's Osjar on screen. Unfortunately, 2 players knocked down. Top will be taken out by Lion from 2-1-4. The final play of 2-1-4, still breaking the frags for the team. On the other side, we have Duktico here. And he got and he'll be able to pick up this point for free. That's going to be the first point for Osjar. Can you believe it? Up to now, only 1 point for this round for Osjar.
Kind of surprising, honestly, especially with their track record, right? But I have to say, for Austria, Dodico just now, he was the first person knocked out of, Austria, wasn't able to survive. I mean, he's slowly making his way back into the game. Perhaps a slow cook is what Austria is. But it was a very, very, I would say, risky play just now to come out off from behind that tree, get that pick off, and hide again, because he could have died there, because the rest of the team had their barrels pointed straight toward him.
By Austria, they're recovering, though. 3 players back up, and they want to take this fight against Nexus Vanguards, who's playing on the inner side of the circle, in the middle of the Yasnaya field. But Jane is taking damage from the side. They actually came for Godspeed for Burmese goals.
Such an open area as well. You only have cover from the front side. I don't think Jane can hold on some time anymore here. But Burmese goals, despite losing 2 members, they're still fighting back. They're still managing to get their first point in. They're trying to go for survivability, but they're still not counting out all the fights they can get, stealing away any points they can get here. As Austria, they're struggling here. That late rotation is becoming, the bane of their existence right now, because they are being kept from going into the circle on the other side of Yasnaya. It's a big field here. It's out there in the open. They're slowly running out of members.
But they'll be slowly running out of space right now, because circle hard shift towards the northern side. Good amount of teams actually in this circle, but we also have other teams on the outside, especially on the south. So teams within the circle, it's all about being chilling right now. If that's their next move, they still have the time. For Loki from the side, he tries to get Osja, tries to get the flank in. Now X will get Superboy instead. And the recovery will happen inside the building, so he should be able to be back up soon.
That's a situation where I was supposed to kill you, but I didn't get him in the end here. But RNG this time in trouble. Silent Gods were just silently waiting for them. RNG completely punished for trying to breach that compound here. 2 members knocked down already here. Numbers not on their side. Needs to be reset and picked up here. But as soon as Jackie as well as his teammate push into that compound, immediately deleted. What are you gonna do here? Yes, they managed to get the pick up again. Range is all alone at the bottom side here. The rest of the team are just hunting him down. Miner rushing up forward here, knows exactly where range is. His teammate will go down at the very least, so 1 point will at least be secured by RNG, but very dangerous predicament to be in.
The hunt is still happening here. They're looking for range. Find a player for Rangers. IGR himself. We need to put up a captain's performance. Here comes Miner, right in front of Range. Range knows exactly where Miner is at. He's on the other room. A nade on the Miner will not connect, and here is Range dealing the damage to the Miner. A little bit more for Range to get Miner. Miner knows the danger. He jumps back out to the ground floor. Out to safety. Swaps his position with Caps.
You don't want to be isolated in these fights. The CQCs could be dangerous. We've seen these situations where 1v3s, 1v4s even against one player. But he's not done. A lot of free fires, but that will eventually be known. And the same could be said about Sin right now. He's being caught out there in the open. BG unknown. You got to give it to this guy. Very aggressive, all alone out here in the open, but still trying to steal away some points.
And that's going to be Rankid. This kid currently down. But finally, looks like the rest of SG, they found a range, and this is going to be Rangers eliminated. They go out with 6 elimination points this time. Still pretty decent, but because of the fact that GX and Team Max is still active in this round, who knows? They can come out with enough points to overtake the number 1 spot.
Surprised Austria is still able to hold on there, right smack dab in the middle of that field, outside of Yasnaya Poliana, barely any cover. Crushed between 3 teams. They gotta stay prone, they gotta just hide, they can't move, they can't pop up their heads either. Now coming in from here, S69 has managed to just breach the compound where SG were in trouble right now. A lot of footsteps heard, so MM, there's not a lot of space to work with. You're on the top side here. You want to be able to isolate fights here, making sure that you're able to get those shots perfectly landing to be able to come up on top.
But the shot perfectly landed on the Mon Boy. Now Mon Boy is the one that's in trouble. And Scotty is going in to save him. Okay, he managed to reach Mon Boy, but the gunfire is still happening. And both of them just got eliminated. Scotty, he had good intentions, he had good heart. But Burmese Gold says, good heart will not win you fights in the battleground, and they will take over their points.
Oh yeah, Burmese Goals, they're still shooting. They lost a lot of players very, very early, but they've been really focusing on long-range fights, positioning as well, and they're not really too full to commit. They're just trying to see how many points they're going to be able to come off with, and it's looking great for them despite the big loss they had early. Right now, they've already gotten 4 eliminations as they move here, plus they've able to survive this long as well, so it should really push them somewhat forward as well.
We have MM and Caps here representing SG, and they actually take over this compound, or actually win this fight against S69. Both teams on the outside circle. It's over close in about 15 more seconds. S69 now managing Team Max at the same time. Team Max, they're also looking for a way to get into the circle, but with S69 shooting them from the side, it's going to be really difficult right now. S69, they're going to commit onto SG. Here we go, 2v4.
I'm quite shocked just that was very high-risk play from Masatoki, but he had a lot of faith in his teammates here. Uses the nades, uses the mollies to make a bit of space for them, but they're not flushing out any of the members of SG here. Staying very silent in the corner here. Master Rick's trying to find a different angle to play with, and finally it's tag team between 2 players. You're perfectly done in terms of crossfire as well to give them that first point. There's still nothing to worry about. His cast on the top side, and his perfect knock as well seals away a point, and this is working out so well for him. The other members of S69, they're crippled, and they have to find another way to play this well. A lot of YouTube thrown out as well. Caps is on fire. He's all alone. He hears the roar and sounds of the vehicles, but it doesn't disturb Caps. He's still putting in the pain, still putting in the bullets, and now it's just his time to run away. He has Max playing on the side. Labo in trouble. Labo about to be enough. No, not enough. But it's gonna be Claude that steals away that pick.
Caps did a bit of a boo-boo there with the molly. We saw that it was caught in 4K. But let's see if any interesting action here can be caught here. Right now we have All-Star Esports rushing in. One more player to go, and they're looking for him inside the building, and All-Star will get that elimination onto Nexus Vanguards, taking them out with 5 elimination points.
Max in trouble right now. Beautiful nade from Max, so Max gonna be able to run away with this as well. Still good for them because they were able to not only steal away the 2 members from that team, but also as 69 as they were in the midst of rotating. So in a way they have been waiting for the right opportune moment to take advantage of this fight, this long prolonged fight as well.
And here's Team Max. Welcome to the edge of the circle, but they're not in a comfortable spot yet. They're looking for the next compound to probably siege down. It's only been helped by the members of Sin, Cool, and WXKX there. Just holding down that compound. That could probably be their next destination. Unless Team Max want to rotate to the left side, that is going to be a different story. But for now, they're probably still holding on to the circle since they have about 20 more seconds before deciding on where exactly they want to go.
Yeah. Right now, Austria, I'm honestly so impressed with Austria right now. We were just commenting about how they were in a very dangerous situation. They were out there in the open. They were crunched by so many different teams. But somehow, in terms of survivability, they're so alive right now. They don't have a lot of cover, a lot of space to work with, but they're still holding on here. But they're gonna have to cross soon here. The only player that's stopping them right now is going to be BG.
Yeah, and also right now they don't have circles, so they have to move forward from the north coming in. But we're going to put a bit more focus onto Team Max and Sin at this point. Both sides still having the circle, but very likely Stage 8 will not favor either one of them. So they have to figure out how they're going to deal with each other for now. Sin, they do have a fortress with the compound. But for Team Max, they do have the numbers. If they crash in, it's a 3v2. But they're evaluating their risk right now. When will be the right timing for them to go? Because at this moment, Sin knows that Team Max is here. They are 100% giving their concentration onto Team Max.
So many teams on the southern side as well, like you said just now. But yeah, you are right. They have to make a choice at the very least. They want to have to make sure like how exactly they are going to be navigating these fights. Are we going to commit and go all in here? And as things go right now, Austria, they do have a compound to play with. They just slowly made their way toward the circle as well. But the problem with coming out of the compound is that there is that open area in front of them. How are you going to play this? You have vehicles, you can have some cover to guarantee. The amount of firepower like what Austria is doing right now is going to be a bit of a problem. Your cars are going to explode. You have no clue which vehicle is going to hit you in the head and put in that damage.
Yeah, spraying across onto Team Max, putting pressure onto them. As for Team Max, well, they still have the circle, so not as much pressure as Austria. Right now, zone is starting to close. Same goes for Gen X. They have to get out of this compound. They're not in the circle. But the moment they step out, there will be a lot of crosshairs onto them. As Sin, still looking out to Team Max, waiting for them. But I believe that Team Max won't be making the big moves yet. They'll be waiting for Austria to come in. As Austria, the moment they step in, Nero gets their axe. And Team Max might be the one to secure that elimination point, waiting for the elimination feed to roll. Team Max, they actually got Nero in the process.
It's very well played as well, very patient. They had their eyes on all the teams just moving forward. Anyone that just pops their head in, any side of movement is just complete spray as well, making sure that they're able to just really run away and put in as much damage as they can. Again, for Team Max, they're opportunists. They love waiting for these early fights as well, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be passive. Nades thrown out already just to put a bit of damage. Flush GX from their corner, but it's not happening right now. As Circle pulls into this middle side area as well, they still have to find a way to rush up forward here. Open area, barely any cover as well, yeah.
Favors Team Max with Claude, okay, at the side, but they kind of know that Claude was there. They had an idea that somebody was on their left side. If only they have the information that it's only Claude there, they will go for it. And that's exactly what they're doing right now, gathering information. They should be able to see Claude and Claude all alone, holding down. They should be able to find an angle. They managed to clear out Claude, and now they have the entire left side of the circle for Team Max to play.
Circle surgical, very patient, doing your due diligence, making sure that you're going to be able to take these fights one by one. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew. And Max is that example today. Very patient, waiting for the right time to just breach these fights as well. Sin now, yeah, they have cover to play with. They have a corner as well. But in terms of firepower, they don't have a lot to work with as well. And they also have to worry about that last member, coming up from the northern side as well. Okay, never mind. It's going to be eliminated finally for eliminations. But Burmese Ghouls, this is a great run for for them surviving this long with only 2 players from the beginning of the game is massive. Now, Sin, they're in trouble here. They're going to get completely choked right now. Fool out in the open, and there's a high-risk play, but he did manage to get that first knockdown. Rushing up. Going to try to take advantage of the situation that Max is going to have to go for that reset, and his teammate is going to slowly move out there in the open. Nade's thrown out, but it's not going to hit its mark.
But you, at least he has a good angle against Cool. Now forcing Cool to put a little bit more attention onto you, allowing Drizzy to be picked up, and he's going to be back up again. Cool will be taken out by you. It's going to be only WXKX now, up against the wall, up against C-Max, a 3v1. And it seems like the final playoffs in, he might not have a good spot here. The zone is just right behind him. He managed to get one knock onto you, but then again, they will reset easily. WXKX does not have a vehicle. He has to rush it all alone right now, out in the open. Going up against the T-Max, left, right, center. He will be shot down, and nothing will stop T-Max from claiming chicken dinner number 2.
Oh man, Max, that is impressive how they decide to play that map. We love to see the decision making here. They wanted to go for a reset, but it's just well done how they said, you know what, forget that reset. It's a 2v1, pop out together. Don't allow us to go into this 1v1s where they're able to come up on top. And that crossfire they had in the end was that cemented that chicken dinner they had for today. Amazing stuff coming from Max. Very surgical. Love to see it.
Yeah, the keyword that you mentioned, surgical. They divided their strategy like, okay, do we want to focus on Sin? Do we want to focus on to whoever's on the left side or whoever's at the front? And they waited patiently for the circle to decide on what they're going to do next. And that's exactly what they did. They found the best opportunity on the left side. There's a little bit of cover with that hill in that final moment where we saw them play against Sin. And they know that once they conquer that side of the hill with that amount of cover and they've cleared off everyone else, it's going to be an advantage for them to go up against Sin. Even though Sin has that compound, but they didn't really have the circle. They were forced to go out, and that's where Team Max landed the final blow.
Yeah, they were already up there in terms of, I would say, survivability as well, making sure that they're able to pick up their teammates, survive as a 4. And I think that's been a recurring theme for today, if you think about it. Both teams that had the chicken dinners for today both ended as a 4. Now, coming into this one, I love in terms of, they had the advantage in terms of high ground terrain, but they also had a nice formation coming out. The 2-1 on the top side there, alongside their teammates rushing up a little bit more forward as well, which is really impressive because you have you watching flanks as well as his teammates trying to go for a pickup or providing the cover fire with the crossfire as well. So that's super, super important. Yes, WKX did try to go a bit more aggressive, just not take up space, but the amount of bodies they had was just not enough. Regardless, we're going to be talking about this later, so let's have a look at the highlights.
And here's the match rankings after not yet 2 games. This is only for that particular match. So in case you're wondering, tabulating the scores and all of that, don't worry, it'll come up next. But right now, we got to celebrate Team Max here, scoring 17 points in this round, followed by Sen, 11 points, and Gen X with 10 points. So that's going to be the double-digit club. But we also have a lot of amazing names up here on page number 1. But on page number 2, the 2 teams that did not score a single point this round is going to be KHI and Paradise. Unfortunately, 0 points for them.
You know what's really exciting? I think we talked about in the beginning of the show how we wanted to see drama and how close it is, right? I think that game was very, very close, given the fact that so many teams were able to score quite a large amount of points. Yeah, like 3-4 teams in the double digits earlier as well, which I think was super exciting. It wasn't like a big gap in terms of score from the first place to second place like we saw in that first match as well. So a lot of teams are starting to find their footing as well. And RNG, this is interesting because we're seeing a lot of teams right now that have 0 placement points, like RNG, NB. They have like 6 points, 5 points, and these are all just straight up from eliminations as well. We're seeing a lot of these 4v4 fights come through as well. We're seeing a lot of pickoff fights as well, and it's also really exciting to see that. Now, Burmese BG especially has really surprised me, given the fact that they lost 2 players very, very early, how aggressive they were as a 2, taking these long-range fights, stealing away kills, keeping an eye out for fights as well from long range and picking away, points, which is something that I would say is quite admirable because they've kept themselves very, very safe throughout the entirety of this map until they eventually fell.
Well, if Burma is going to surprise you, for PBMS, they surprised me. The fact that they only scored 1 point this round, because this is a lineup that is not only experienced, but they also have their own stature and their own achievements as well, especially Monboy, who has a medal at CE Games, and also he has his own achievements as well in the local Filipino scene. But the fact that they only came up with 1 point this round, it's rather difficult. The last we saw them, it was Monboy getting knocked, and another player tried to save him, but both of them got eliminated together. So sometimes I guess it's a evaluation as well of like, you have to leave your teammate if it's unsalvageable, and maybe that's something to reflect on and consider in the following round.
Yeah, it felt like a very interesting situation. Your teammate's down, you're out there in the open. I was really questioning the decision to go for that pickup. I understand it's a very dire, desperate situation, but sometimes you really gotta make a choice, right? And on top of that as well, to add on to your point, I think we saw PBMS a lot in the kill feed in terms of knocks, I believe, but never really securing those elimination points, which I think is such a shame because you're getting so many of these knocks, but you're walking away with nothing, which is just a bit sad to see. Regardless, coming into that, these are our 2 overall rankings for the first 2 maps for today as well, with RNG still very much in the lead, but despite their lead, it's still only a 2-point deficit from Max as well, because Max has done a phenomenal job keeping their team relatively, I would say, active and healthy throughout the entirety of map 2, but still, the points are still being collected regardless. So that's what I always have to say. When you are playing this game, you want to make sure that you're not going bombastic one game and quiet for the next 2 games here. Consistency is key, and RNG and Max are truly showing us that.
Well, Paradise needs to find a level of consistency, because out of 2 matches, they're still at 0 points. Of course, we're going to see them more later on, so there's a lot more opportunity for them to be able to claw back those points. As for this round, our top 4 teams, of course, Team Max came out with the chicken dinner with 7 eliminations, 1,374 damage, so there's a lot of work done by them. Sin, we have Generation X, and also Burmese goals. But based on the numbers, looks like for Sin, they still managed to score 5 eliminations despite them not able to do as much damage. But the one that scored a balanced amount of eliminations as well as damage taken is Iter X from Team Max.
Oh man, I mean, when you talk about Iter X here, it's always very fun. I think Team Max, I hate saying this. I feel like I'm just saying this over and over, right? Just in terms of roles, how in terms of play, you're all just pulling your own weight. I think Max has just been doing really well in terms of positioning and playing off each other. You could really tell in terms of communication how seamless it is, how they're moving with each other as well. Going for a pickup and saying, hey, we only have 1 player left, and how immediately they reacted to that. So it's only very fun when you know that a team is just having some great communication going on. So, it's something that I want to look out for more from Team Max as well, because there are some situations where you are in a situation where you have to make a decision, and you also want to be able to make a decision quick with your teammates, and they're just not on the same.
Yep. But what we'll definitely be doing is that we'll take a short break, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll come back to you with our 3rd match for today back in Irango. And we're coming back onto Erangel. So this Erangel, yes, it's going to be the same map, but it's going to be different groups. We're going to see Group E making their debut in this round. And who's in Group E? Okay.
Group E.
Yeah, Group E is going to make their debut. So we're going to see Young Cat, we're going to see a Good Game, we're going to see AF, and we're going to see Goa here coming into PMCL.
Oh yeah, very exciting when you think about it. I mean, Yahoo Galacticos, I think that was your prediction for today as well, right, Cloud? About what you wanted to see for them coming into this map as well. So, super fun if you think about it coming into this one. Regardless, we're gonna go straight into Erangel one more time, this time with a different group.
Same map, new groups. Different challenge here, ladies and gentlemen, as we head on to Erangel. And looks like we're going to start the flight path here somewhere up north. I see Starbuck Community. Okay, it's on the right side of Yasnaya, cutting across onto the left side of Quarry. So this is a pretty balanced flight path. All teams should be able to get through their regular drop spot. But because there's a new team introduced, and within that group, there is the reigning champions, Yangon Galacticos. This round is going to be super interesting.
Oh yeah. Now I think you and I are both very curious about what to expect for this team. Again, this is a very old team that's been playing in this scene for quite a long time. They had such an amazing run, a lot of achievements, just like the teams that you mentioned earlier, Sir Cloud. So for you personally, why do you think that Yangon Galacticos is the one, your pick for today?
Well, I mean, reigning champions, they have that on their resume, and then they have two players who previously, even before the last season, from Genesis Esports, multiple championship winning players, and they have even like players like Smile, who to me, up to now, is one of the players who comes up with the chicken dinner of, well, the season or maybe even the decade. I don't know, because it's just so amazing. So with that sort of resume, definitely Yangon Galacticos is my pick for the day. So hopefully I'm not disappointed.
It's okay. My pick is not doing so great right now. So, maybe they're a slow cooker. Really hoping I'm not the jinx. Regardless, coming into this one, I think that, I look at RNG. I am super excited. I mean, to be fair, I haven't really seen a lot of them coming into my career, but they have been really surprising me today in terms of how they play, in terms of consistency, and it's their second Erangel, so they're definitely more acquainted with this map, that's for sure. Yeah, you have a little bit of a change there with the roster, but regardless, the rest of the teams are still very similar.
Yeah, so some similarity sometimes is needed, right? Like, you got to keep some level of consistency by keeping the team together. Like, if you overly change, sometimes it kind of affects the team. So sometimes it's not a bad thing to like remain the same roster as well. But that has to be, of course, translated. No matter what, has to be translated into the performance, into the game. And looking over at the overalls, so far for Rangers, since Harame Bros days, they have not changed their lineup. Or the last time we saw them with the Harame Bros branding, that is, they have not changed their lineup. They still retain the same lineup. And look what's happening to them. So far, they are still doing very well at number one.
Oh, yeah. Very cool. I mean, again, it's not... Again, we wanted drama. We wanted to see close points. We're getting that. Only a 2-point deficit from these two teams. And again, Austria is a very interesting one to me. I feel like the last two maps, I wouldn't say they're the most aggressive, but they have protocols in terms of survivability, how they want to play. Granted, like, okay, we're stuck here, we're out here in the open. If we move, we die. What do we do? Let's just survive. And I think a lot of the points that Austria has been managing to collect has mostly been from having these many different playbook pages on how exactly they want to play their game in terms of side quests, how aggressive they want to be, what's our position, how are we going to survive.
Yeah, and so far, Austria, they're doing okay, right? We haven't seen the most explosive performance by Austria, but I can totally understand as well, because this Austria lineup is it's almost a revamp from the last time we saw Austria in the PMCL. The last time we saw Austria in the PMCL, they had a player called Red Bull, and right now he's obviously playing in the PMSL underneath a Thailand organization called FaZe Clan.
Yeah.
I guess, everyone would probably know that. But without like a prominent player like Red Bull, who did very well for Austria, so this is a different feel of Austria this time for the PMCL. But are they doing okay? Well, I mean, with 16 points after 2 games, they're still not too bad. And at this stage, because we are still at the group stage, it's all about getting into the grand finals. And then that's where they need to bring out the best of themselves to chase for that number 1 spot, and also the slot to the EWC, or also known as the PMWC. So whatever happens at this stage, as long as you're still in the top 16, you're still fine, but not like Austria is doing bad. They're still doing all right.
Yeah. I mean, Austria, I believe, if we look at track records with or without Red Bull, they're a little bit, I would say, a slow cooker team. They take them time to really figure things out. Sometimes it kind of like scares me a little bit on how long it takes for them to warm up. But once they do, they're definitely one of those teams that, if they're on point, they're super on point. they are explosive as heck. That's what makes watching them so fun. But at the same time, there's also that double-edged sword, because once they have lost the plot, that's where things go very, very wrong. But so far today, I've seen a little bit more balance from them instead of an all-in and all-out moment, at least for the last two maps. So at the very least, they're trying to find that balance, that chemistry, and filling in the big shoes left behind by Red Bull. I think that's super important as well. And it's always, very difficult for a team to really adjust when you have lost your best player, backpacking, carrying you around and pulling you out of very nasty situations.
Apologies, had to clear my pipe. But for Red Bull, with the fact that he has been performing well in the PMCL with Oscar, honestly, with the kind of performance from an individual player, I wouldn't be surprised that if like a major organization like FaZe Clan eventually will pick him up. And now that he is together with them, of course, they'll be starting their PMSL campaign in a couple more weeks. So yeah, it will be interesting to see if he's still able to put in a good performance. Of course, last season when he played with Oscar, Thailand, that is, he was still able to put up a good show. So with FaZe Clan, I'm sure there will be a lot of fans all across hoping for him to be able to keep up to the pace, especially when you represent such a big name like FaZe Clan. But for this new Oscar lineup, of course, there's still like experienced players within it. I mean, you still have like Renza, you still have Nug X, you still have Top within it, you still have Fern X, who they have experience playing the PMCL. So it's not like a fresh lineup within Oscar. With this kind of lineup, hopefully they'll be able to come up with something big. But for other teams here that we can see on screen, Nutty, it's a bit naughty there. But we have Rangers against Burmese Ghost.
Yeah, very aggressive right now, and Range to be punished for that aggression here. Burmese Ghost are very in their defensive situation, just put a turtle shelling and just waiting for RNG to fall into their trap. It's like bugs just walking into their web, right? Spiders is completely devouring, and they were able to run away with two members from RNG, which is massive and should slow down RNG in terms of their lead. Regardless, when we look at the circle, it's a very northern side circle. A lot of teams are going to be fighting from the southern side, especially just now. We saw these fights coming in from Rozhok. They're trying to cross the bridge. They're trying to make sure they can go up towards Severny there. So that is where things are going to start to get haywire.
It's just too bad for Rangers, right? I guess they were doing his scouting work and they want to take that high ground where Burmese Ghost was last seen, and so happened they sent two players. They kind of committed to it. They probably didn't have enough information, and Burmese Ghost just took advantage of it. And two players down for Rangers. With two players, it's going to be pretty difficult for them to score big this round, and that puts them at risk of Team Max or even Burmese Ghost or even Oscar or maybe even Sin to overtake them at that number one spot. But even if that happens, still, for the fans of Rangers, it's not the end of the world. We still have a lot more rounds to go, so that's fine. But now we're going to check out the circle, and it goes towards shooting a range, one of my favorite areas in the northern side.
Oh, yeah. I think when we look at this one, I think, with the another group playing as well, right? I think it's just really slowed down the pace just a little bit because there is that uncertainty. You don't really want to go too aggressive. You don't want to overextend, but you also want to make sure that you're able to survive in the end, especially when you know teams like Yango Galacticos, who have quite an impressive track record, as you said just now, coming into this game. You want to make sure that you're able to survive as a team. Now, interesting enough, when you look at some of these teams as well, I look at AF coming in playing as well. They're coming in at 0 at GGG, at YG as well. It's a fresh slate for you. You haven't played yet. It's a little bit more of I would say this is our time to really just get hot a little bit more, understand these teams. So for them, other teams are just surprised about them, but they also have no clue what to expect. Of course, they'll be watching the game from earlier, but at the same time, you have no clue if your strats are going to be fitting into this game because you haven't played anything yet.
Well, at least the good news for them, starting off their campaign, is that they get to watch whatever happened earlier on, and now they can try to adapt to the situation. But speaking of adapting, it looks like PG, one of the players not able to adapt, Lazy Boy, will go out fans of Team Max. And let's not forget, PG, after 2 rounds, they have still yet to score a single point.
Oh, yeah.
This round, they have to try to get it off the mark.
They really need to. And just now, there was 2 rounds in a row dropping to RNG, and now they're dropping down to max. They haven't been able to find that secret sauce to really figure out how exactly are they going to be surviving earlier into the game. I think for them, their survivability is maybe toward the mid side of the game is not enough to really give them those points if you're getting knocked out early without any elimination points. But the same thing could be said about, about so many other teams as well. I think for AF, I think in terms of rotations right now, the circle, this is a very rough circle. It went all the way up north just now, and now it's ping-ponging all the way to the left side. So a lot of teams who are on the right side, they're going to be in trouble. But thankfully enough, the only 2 teams outside is Goa as well as TTQ, and they're just slowly making their way into the circle from Hospital side. And the Hospital side, that is a choke there, so I wouldn't be surprised if more fights are going to be happening from there, because there is a team that just came down from Potato Hill.
Yeah, both teams clearly taking the time because they're still spending time in the blue. But at stage 2, that's still absolutely fine. You can still tank out the blue, and you would have decent amount of healing utilities. Bandages should be still enough, so I wouldn't be too worried about type quick esports and also aggressive fights here so far. Of course, between these 2 teams, it is the first round for aggressive fights, so they're playing the ground at the same time. But Pretzel from PBMS just got gunned down from afar. Any potential follow-up? Not yet. Perhaps everyone's just waiting for the circle to shift again. So we'll go up to the high ground of shooting range. Looks like it's going to go towards the left side shooting range, which has a decent amount of high ground. 2-1-4. One of the best areas possible in the circuit.
To say, Yellow Galacticos and 2-4 dropped at the northern side here, and they are being severely rewarded for it here. They haven't had to move at all. Now coming in for a Summon God, very aggressive team, but now they are the ones in trouble here. Yeah, they're the ones trying to gatekeep, but they're taking a lot of damage in that process as well. At the very least, for PBM, they're able to knock down 1 player, trying to make sure that they're able to deny them that reset. That's the most important thing to do. Perhaps we saying, okay, you're taking too long to reset, you're not biting onto the bait, so securing the point should be priority here, at least for Caps. So 1 point in the bag, and just the beginning of many more for SG, looking at their performance today.
Silent Gods Esports. Definitely not silent there as they scored their first elimination point, so that's pretty nice. While retaining all 4 of their players, it was a long-range knock and also elimination. So that's okay for them. But for Osja, looks like it's only Top and Jane, the 2 players. But we're coming back on Silent Gods Esports. Looks like Caps is now on the ground. PBMS right in front of them, and Raimond trying to go in for a flank to try to sniff out the other members of Silent Gods Esports.
I don't think they're aware as well about his positioning here. He could be, coming in for the most insane flank in the world, might be able to run away with 2, but the same could be said about RNG. They had lost 2 players early, mid-rotation, going to run into GG, and they have no clue what to expect from this team. This is a team that just came into this game. GG here, they did take some chip damage, but it's not enough to really say that they're in trouble at all, because a lot of teams, especially BG, they don't really want to take this fight early, at least not this early as well. They're just trying to hold on to their area for the time being here.
And speaking about GG, now we have them on screen, making their debut this round, playing by the edge of the circle. Looks like they're going to play it a little bit more safer, or maybe they have the idea of trying to block teams from coming in, and that's absolutely fine. It allows them the opportunity to farm eliminations if any team were to cross by. But we're back onto the area of shooting range. Here we have Silent God Esports. Right in front of them is going to be a member of Nexus Vanguards, also just across this hill, but they seem to have no idea that he's there.
Oh, he's going to show his face, show his hand, but not going to find dividends from that. So, like it or not, you're going to have to move away and reposition here. You're all alone. You're so separated from your teammates as well. But the blue zone is rushing. You need to come through as well here. His teammate is going to rush into his, I think, a safer car. You don't want to be on the buggy this very early as well. So, they're going to go a little bit more aggressive, just rush through into that circle where I believe Silent Gods is around here. Could spell death for them, but the same could be said here. Sin toe-to-toe at 2-4.
Oh, Sin on 2-1-4, here we go. And Renkit goes down. And it looks like Imas and Cool is on the other side, sharing the same building with 2-1-4. 2-1-4, they're trying to clear off Sin. And Worm takes a lot of damage from the back. He has to find an angle to save himself. And so far, it is 2-1-4 actually winning that fight nice and clean. All 4 of their players will be back up.
2-4 was very patient there, just focusing more on positioning and just completely punishing the team for just going a little bit more aggressive and trying to take away that compound. And that is how you hold. But the same could be said about PG this time around. It's just so unfortunate for these Paradise esports. They haven't been able to find dividends. They're just getting picked off one by one here. No eliminations as well, which means that they're not going to be moving at all from the bottom side, despite the fact that we have a whole new group just joining into the fray here as well. So nothing for them at the same time. But OF here, this is massive because TTQ was the team that was in trouble, and we talked about a little bit about TTQ's rotation, and they were just holding.
Oh, MM with a beautiful nade onto Peter, not Parker. On the other side, knocking him down, and surely he will claim this point for himself. Going in just to make sure. But MM being shot at from the other side, gotta be extra careful. Lucky enough for him, the smoke is still active. But nevertheless, the point will still go to... Oh, wait a second. It's Team Max actually stealing that point away.
It's just been so, I would say, surgical from Team Max, right? It's just been them being opportunistic, waiting for the right time between these two fights as well, stealing away kills. That's just been their style for the last two maps here. AFF, this is their debut game into here, but now they're in trouble. Silent Gods has been phenomenal when it comes to how they play. It's very patient, it's very gatekeepy, but aggression still very much there. But like it or not, Max has been phenomenal in stealing kills. They've got another pick off in their bag, stealing another one away from Silent Gods, and there's nothing they can do about it. And it must be so frustrating because right now you're out here in the open, people are shooting toward you, and Max has a lot of advantage in terms of space, in terms of high ground, in terms of cover as well.
It's just so annoying for all these teams on the lower ground because Team Max, they have this high ground overlooking all of them, putting pressure onto every team, trying to steal away elimination points at the same time. And so far, Team Max managed to score 6 elimination points, looking for more. Now, some of these teams just by the edge of the circle, but very likely when we hit stage number 5, they will not be in the circle no more.
No. By Silent Gods, they have another plan in mind here. Just stay quiet, scope in, make sure to mark our enemies and try to steal away some kills. And that's important, I feel, because then you're trying to make sure that you have an objective how to play. But I think for Max, they have a different idea. They know that Silent Gods were close here. It's all about trying to scout them out and being able to pick them off. Not too sure. I'm pretty sure that Trezzy has actually managed to spot out the member of SG just now. And as soon as another team just pops their head, at least his teammate is able to just scout around in safety because you have you providing that cover fire.
And within the circle, look at the amount of teams now playing by the edge of it. Everyone's trying to cancel each other from coming in. While AF, they're finding it really difficult to move forward. But 15 more seconds before we see the zone will close, and that will be the biggest challenge for them in this round so far. 10 more seconds to go. Everyone's just praying that the circles somehow miraculously pulls towards the right side where all these teams are at. Every team pretty much has their own side. And yes, wow! Previous as the circle actually hard shifts towards the right.
Yeah, I was a bit concerned just now because if they did move toward the central side or even the left side, all the players are going to be corralled straight into the guns of Max. But the rest of the teams here are going to have to rotate. Another team that's still outside the circle is Goa. But Goa, I think for them, they have a nice terrain to work with as well. They do have to worry about incoming teams inside of the area. But it's not that they're in a disadvantage. They can still fight their way into the circle. It's still very much winnable for them.
And here comes Goa. They want to clear off their sides before going into the circle. So many teams here that we can see on the left side. On the other side of the circle, we have Goa now. Looking down at 2-1-4. And they will get 3 in the process. Let's get an elimination point. Now we have one. You see one? He's straight down. On the 2-1-4, putting pressure onto them. 2-1-4. Now they know that on top of this hill, there's Goa waiting. Super duper difficult for 2-1-4 to get out of this sticky situation.
2-4 just now were the team that was inside of the circle. They had a lot of positioning, but unfortunately for them, because of their late rotations, they're going to be severely punished here. PPMS will be able to get a point for themselves at the very least here, so that's also something very exciting. Now, Austria, this is a very quiet start, a little bit more different, but now they're in trouble in the midst of rotations. A lot of pressure coming toward them, but it doesn't seem like they want to even, fight back. They're just trying to make sure they can get the space that they want to get.
And here comes the spray from the lower ground. And looks like Nexus Vanguard, they're looking for elimination points for the so far. They managed to get one, but beautiful trade here by Super Loki and his teammate. They almost got an opponent down from 2-1-4. That was a really close one. They're playing the gatekeeping role right now. Just look at their position within the northern side of the circle. They can still block another team from coming in.
I said it's not here, Burmese goals. Very aggressive as well, very patient. Still the same strat played and is still paying dividends. 2-1-4 at the very least. Lion able to get into the circle for the time being. At the very least, manage to slip away from Burmese goals. Now, Goa find themselves toe-to-toe with BG. Now, this is a super interesting one because as soon as BG come into the circle, Burmese goals pop their hits, and suddenly you can see the rest of Goa immediately pushed back out of that circle.
Here comes Team Max as you shows up, getting a knockdown to Marnat from Yangon Gadigos, looking for the other members of Yangon Gadigos. And here's the nade set across at Seikla. Seikla takes a bit of damage as you is still putting pressure on the bit, but you being shot at from afar. That's so nice. They have to manage other teams as well at the same time, and you will need to recover himself. Marnat will need Seikla to pick him up.
Trouble right now. Trezzy stolen away from a member of SG as well. So SG, despite having a player disadvantage, still waiting for the right possible time to steal away points here. What Max has done to them, they do back as well as Romeo rendered very low, surviving by the skin of his teeth. His teammates dwindle down in numbers one by one here, as well as Max. They're gonna have to move all the way back here. They still have 3-on-3 regardless. Yango Galacticos has to go for that reset. They do. So moving back here, hiding behind a tree at the very least. The fight's not over. They decide to cheat, but Max decided to say let's just retreat for now.
Oh, and Young Radicals, they managed to recover as a 4, but they're not out of it yet. As T-Max is there, Chonai knocked out by Seikla. That could be the opening to go in, as you will be taken out as well. This is the former Young Radicals, ladies and gentlemen, showing their stuff against T-Max, as T-Max gets eliminated at number 10 with 8 elimination points.
It's actually insane when you think about it, because Max had a lot of advantage compared to Yango Galacticos, the high ground as well. But for Yango Galacticos, despite, Marnat being knocked down already, they have an idea on how to navigate the terrain, keeping Marnat alive, going a bit more aggressive, but still keeping that space away. And like it or not, Silent Gods has really helped them in terms of their positioning, stealing away that point away from them as well, really gave them an edge over the other team. So that's massive. It's huge for them as well. Yango Galacticos, this is a great statement opening fight for them as well.
It's their first game, and they only scored like 5 eliminations so far with 3 players still intact. So we can expect more from Younger Radicals. We're going to shift our attention now onto the left side where Goa is now going in. Burmese Ghost will try to stop them. Straight down by Burmese Ghost. And going to be offshot from you get Clay Jr. And he will be down on the ground right now, eliminated by Top. At the same time, Young Radicals forcing their way into the middle of the circle. Goa managed to make their way through. But as Young Radicals wanted to go up to the high ground, Romeo gets knocked out by Osao.
Gotta give it to them as well. Yango Galacticos, they just taking too long to reset, taking too long to reconvene, and other teams just quickly filling up the space that's left behind from Max as well. But Goa's not done. Goa's still holding on to the area as well. Marnat, gonna say he's very sharp, very perceptive, knows exactly where NX is gonna be. This actually matters in his hands here. 1v2, but he's not scared at all. He's not gonna be looking at this flying crazy into those smokes. He's not done. He puts a lot of damage into the teams and players, eats a lot of damage in exchange as well. Now, because he's so low, forced to move back, take his time. Yango Galacticos still very much alive, still very much healthy, but it's a tag team here as well as PBMS decide to join in the fight as well on the other end.
Oh, a lot of teams clumped up here on the left side. And Osal goes down. He does have his teammate together with him though. Is Georgie going to go for it? Osal is crawling towards Georgie. He pops up that smoke. He should be able to save his teammate, but can't say the same for Super Loki. As Super Loki just got naded down. Almost eliminated. He's still alive though. He can still be picked up.
Romeo's back in the game as well. In terms of firepower, YG looks terrifying right now despite only playing as a 3 here. Gotta give it to them because individual brilliance is what Yango Galacticos has as well. You have Marnat just going aggressive on one end, the rest of his teammates playing together as well as a tag team here. And NX, look at the amount of space they have. Basically zero. The only cover they have is that card. The rest, a low ground to play with. PBMS decides to take up space as well on the other end. Yango Galacticos as well as goes high. I don't know how they're going to be getting out of this alive here.
And for PBMS, 2 players left. But look at Rybon. He's already at 6 elimination points by himself. That's so far the highest number for a single individual player in the PMCL. For the PMCL, that is. And now long range sprayed by Scotty. He's looking for more eliminations for his team. 9 eliminations now for PBMS. And Scotty will spray them now, eliminating Nexus Vanguard.
Nexus, it's a very dire situation for them. Didn't have space to work with as well, so this outcome is to be expected here. Jungle Galacticos has a high ground to play with, but not the circle. Still has to worry about trying to go through here because Goa, I have to say, their aggressive style play, aggressively just kind of brute forcing their way into the circle is paying dividends. They have a nice area to play with on the high ground as well. So if any team tries to crunch them, they have an idea where they want to push as well.
And here is the circle again. Shifted. Only 5 teams left in this circle. We got Burmese Ghost, PBMS, Goa, Yango Gyacos, and GG within the circle. It's going to be anyone's game right now to score the chicken dinner. Pretty much everyone has their own corner, but Goa, interestingly, in the middle. They're very close with the members of Yango Gyacos, but because they have a little bit of elevation together with the Shack, so they don't have a good clear shot onto Goa just yet. But the 2 teams at the northern side will be fighting with each other. We have PBMS and Yango Gyacos.
MS and Young Galacticos need to fight themselves to be able to even get into the circle. This is a very long, drawn-out fight here. PBMS being so great at being alive right now. And Raimon, he has 8 eliminations just to his name all alone here. We talked about how rough it is for them to lose 2 members very, very early. It doesn't look very good, but they are surprisingly doing a great job at surviving as a duo, keeping themselves quite safe, keeping themselves fairly hidden, and hoping to be able to isolate some fights, steal away kills, cripple down the numbers of the Young Galacticos, and completely overwhelm in the end.
And here comes Yango Gyacos into the circle. And Raimon is at the flanking position. Could potentially surprise Yango Gyacos, but he don't have a good clear shot. Anyway, Yango Gyacos, they're going to put focus on Shack where Goa is at. Sends a nade across, not able to clip them down yet. Yango Gyacos timing their run. Another nade onto Goa, but a little bit too short, and that's a stun grenade. So that won't stun Goa for now, but this nade could land on the inside. Very, very close.
Very, very close. But Manat Boy is going to take advantage of the cacophony of that noise as well, take a little bit more space, get a little bit more close. Some pre-fires to come around, but the thing about Goa is that they have no clue where exactly Manat Boy is, so they have to wait here for the time being. Vehicle come close as well to give a bit of cover as well. They could completely overwhelm. They want to! That is the most perfect nade I've seen today! We'll eliminate 1 team there, so Young Galacticos all the way up here in top 4 in their debut game.
And guess who it came from? It came from Smile, my personal Mr. MVP, putting up a good nade there to open up his account as well. And now, the fight will continue on as the circle shifted. You can see the teams getting close by each other as Raimon gets a run over by Master Smile himself.
Wango Galacticos are just playing this so patiently. They have an idea on who exactly to hit first, and they are playing this, knocking on doors like the Grim Reaper 1 by 1. But don't count out the other teams yet, because the Gulzil Yatka, great opening onto a member of the Galacticos, potentially just crippling them in terms of numbers right now, leaving them to only 1 team, 1 player left alive. Eventually it will fall down. Manat Boy alone, dangerous predicament to be in. The nade will eventually just go past him in the end, keeping very quiet. But he's not going to be surviving for a lot longer here. His heart possibly beating loudly in his chest.
And one more need, but looks like it was sent a little bit too far there. Definitely will not connect on the Manat Boy at all, but Yaka is prepared with his own nade. This nade could land, but still a no-way shot. Oh man, Manat, it feels like he has to force it in. No Manat will fire back to Yaka. Oh man. Yaka, right Fernando says now Manat will take him down. Manat finally goes down to the eyes of Gosby, but still able to secure that 1 elimination point before he went down, and that's going to be Gosby against the world. And the world is going to be good again. JJ with the chicken dinner on their debut match.
Chicken dinner on their debut match, very, very silent as well. Held down the southern side of the circle for quite a long time. Did not want to take fights, did not want to fight, did not want to start anything. Didn't even try to steal away kills and points. It's all about survivability. It's all about staying up as a 4 and just focusing on that last fight that when it mattered the most. So GG's to you. Great opening match for them in their debut as well. But Yangon Galacticos, you gotta give them props because they were aggressive the entire game. 10 eliminations before going down eventually. That is a terrifying thing to see.
Wow, absolutely right. I mean, coming in from the reigning champions of the PMCL, I'm sure the fans would expect them to put on that kind of performance. But it is not about how you start, it is about how you end. But we're not going to take away the spotlight from GG as well, ladies and gentlemen, with a great performance shown by them. They scored 4 eliminations in total this round, 3 for Shout, 1 for Boy Sean, and the rest of them play a significant role, especially Luki, putting up 800 plus. No eliminations, but that's fine. He did a lot of work for the team for them to score these 4 eliminations.
It's really important as well to know, when you put in that damage but not eliminations, it's also really important to know that these type of, I would say, style plays just cripple other teams, gives your teammates a chance to go and just clean up house. And I think if I remember correctly, looking at Shroud here, who wanted to be the Shroud of Southeast Asia, he's always been that one player that's just been great at cleaning up houses. Possibly how he's managed to get those knockdowns as well as eliminations as well, with the support coming in from players like Luki. At the same time, for players like GG right now, again, we talked about how they didn't really want to go all into these fights. I wouldn't be surprised if all this damage coming from Luki was just him, crippling down players, but not fully wanting to commit to these fights, which kind of resulted in this style of play and stats as well.
Yeah, so this is just the opening game. Expect more from GG, as these players, they are very, very experienced. They have represented their country as well at international stages, at SEA Games, so they definitely know what they're doing. Might not be the most sexiest of eliminations, but again, it's not about how you start, it's about how you end. And scoring a chicken dinner, definitely can't complain about that. So it's nice to see these players still having the strats, still having the prowess to score this chicken dinner, and they have a new inclusion of Luki in the lineup, so it's great to see them be able to live up to expectations. Let's check out some of the moments here from this highlight.
Here we are looking at the match rankings right now. At that particular game, it was a very, very close one. Young Galacticos managing to steal away that top spot from GG just by being able to run away with 10 eliminations. 5 placement points, no problem, because for them, their main quest has always been about the elimination points.
Well, who needs chicken dinners if you're able to score the most points in the round, right? So Young Galacticos still showing, hey, we can still do it. Don't forget about us. But of course, credit given to GG, they're still able to score the chicken dinner, so that's 14 points for them. Burmese goals still doing pretty nice, 14 points as well. And PBMS, this is a rise for them. 9 eliminations collected, 13 points in total, with so many double digits up here at top 1, 2, 3, 4. Expect that on page number 2, when we flip over, there will be a good amount of teams that maybe did not get away with this round with that maybe not able to score any points in this round. Yeah, so we have 3 teams to be exact.
Very surprised at the outcome. PG, Sin, and RNG. Sin and RNG in particular, I'm quite surprised at the outcome as well, because Sin and RNG has always been a little bit more aggressive. It's all about those fights, but I guess in this situation, they weren't able to secure those kills. RNG especially were caught in the mid of the rotation. They weren't able to stay as a team as a 4, and I think for them, staying as a 4 is their strength. But right now, Sin as well could be set off the same as they were kind of reached a little bit early toward the game as well. Now, interesting enough, when you look at, the amount of teams at the top side there in terms of scoring, scoring and points, not only is it very, very close, but I have to say it was very, very competitive in terms of how each team tried to survive and play off that area. I have to say it is a very hard circle with the aggressive northern side circle and ping pong to the left side. It's not the easiest circle to navigate into. So it's kind of like forced a lot of teams to take these fights, but at the same time, teams that are already there in the circle, in the prime location, and great at holding down the line where they are the teams that are able to come up on top. So teams like 2 and 4, yeah, early on in the game, they were able to get prime location, but the late rotations are heavily punished by those that are gatekeeping.
Yeah, but those were the teams on top. But unfortunately for PG, they're still not able to score a single point after 3 rounds. They definitely need to go back to the drawing board here. And these teams, well, they've drawn very well in this round. Top 4 teams. Yangon goes with 10 eliminations. GG with the chicken dinner, 4 eliminations. And we got Burmese goes with 8. PBMS with 9 eliminations. And if we were to look at the numbers here, well, all of them were very active with their utilities. And our MVP for this round is going to be Shroud from GG.
Again, we talked about how Shroud plays and how much support he gives to his team as well. 3 elims, but the amount of team contribution and survivability time really kind of skewed in his situation. Being able to be there for his team, playing as a 4 is, I think, most important for this team as well, which just lands him that MVP role. Yes, his teammate put in a lot more damage, but for him, it's all about being able to clean up house, and that's exactly how he was able to rush up on top here. But I also really want to talk about how Yangon Galacticos played as well just now. Yeah, high elimination points coming from them as well. But it felt like they were the final boss on how exactly they played. There were a lot of situations which just seemed unwinnable for them. But you have these stellar plays coming in from players like Marnet Boy or even Smile that really just catches you off guard. You're just like, what the heck happened there? They were supposed to lose, but you have this one guy just being able to just come up in the back with a backstab or an impressive spray, and just everything skewed in their favor. So this is not only a statement game, but also an idea of like what to expect for a lot of teams. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're gonna have, like, I would say, a target on their head as we go throughout the entirety of the day.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about being the top team, right? If you're up there, you're performing, everyone will be like, how does he do that? Maybe we can try to cut them off somewhere, right? So I expect them to be coming soon. But you know what is going to be a challenge for you all? Is to try out this phone. Thank you so much to Techno for being our official sponsor for this season's of PMCL. Techno is powered by the MediaTek Dimensity 8350. The Camera 40 Premier 5G delivers seamless and efficient performance for both everyday tasks and demanding gaming sessions. Plus, with one-tap AI flash snap, you easily capture sharp and flawless photos with just one tap. So try that one out right now. One tap, perfect snap.
Yeah, it's also so important when you have, it depends on your lifestyle, right? You want to be able to have a phone that can, function for your games as well as real life. This is why this phone is really important. This has a nice balance as well for you guys who prioritize playing games like PUBG Mobile, but you still want to be able to snap nice photos, send texts, do your daily things. This is something that you want to be able to invest in. Now, coming into the next 5 days, we've done one sun off, 2 air angles, which means you have 1 more air angle to go after this as well. So it might be something that you guys want to look out for because it's going to be the last one of the day. Regardless, before we go into that one, we have a PUBG Mobile X Shelby collaboration happening right now, where we have the unrivaled power with PUBG Mobile X Shelby. And if you guys want to check it out, you can check it out right now in the game alongside the PUBG Mobile X Attack on Titan collab happening. Because for me personally, again, I love AOT. The anime ended a while back, but seeing this graphic gives me a throwback to the beginning of the season, and it's looking at some of the cast that's no longer there, making me sad. So it's a great way to relive those moments.
I like how the PUBG man is also animated. But you know what? Before we head on to our second half, we're going to take a short break, ladies and gentlemen. So do not go anywhere because you don't want to miss out on the second half for today in the PMTF.
Shelby is a lone companion. It will never betray, never turn back. It is unlike anything else in this world. Some people rely on their brothers, some rely on their luck. But relentless few only believe in the steel beast. One day, the fuel tank might run empty. The flame would go out. But there are some ties that even time cannot erase.
Hold up, wait a minute, bitch, I'm back. Got my hands around their neck like I don't know who the hold up, around their neck.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second half of day number 1 in the PUBG Mobile Challengers League Southeast Asia Summer 2025. So in case you just joined us, this is a little bit of a recap that Rangers scored the first chicken dinner, followed by Team Max, and we had GG with the chicken dinner. 3 more maps to go. Tash, how are you feeling about the last 3 maps today?
I'm actually very excited. I mean, RNG and Max have shown us a lot of consistency coming into today, but that shuffle of a new group coming in just completely changed every single team's momentum. 2 out of the 3 teams that just debuted from 2 out of the 4, teams that just came into the fray today have really caught my eye. I'm talking about actually 3 out of the 4. If you think about it, Goa, GG, and YG have been performing great today. If you ask me, just really astounding me. Goa with great brute force going to the circle. GG, great survivability. And Yellow Galacticos, they played like a king. There's a reason why they were champions, and they were truly playing like the final boss this entire game.
Yeah, it was only their first match, so more to expect from Young Radicals. But looking over the overall rankings here, so some of the teams have played like 3 matches, some of them only played 2, or some of them only won 1. So it depends on the groups as well. But looking at PG, they have played 3 matches, which is the most that a team can play so far today. But still no points yet. What do you think that PG needs to do to start bringing in the points?
They need to, you said earlier, they had to go back to the drawing board, really figure out what went wrong. VOD reviews should be very important to see, and I feel like they're not on the same page. PG has been a team that's just been struggling in terms of playing together as a team. They got picked off one by one, and as soon as one player goes down, it felt like they had lost. It felt like they were hitless chickens. They didn't have a direction on what to do. They didn't have a fallback plan. So I'm really hoping that tomorrow will be a better day for them. Regardless, we have another 1 more air angle and 2 Miramars, and it's going to be the first Miramars that we're going to be seeing this season.
Oh yeah, we're going to see the first Miramar. But it's not right after this. We're still going to see another Erangel match. And for the next Erangel match, it will be A, C, D, and E. So Group B will be taking a break. That means that Austria, Thailand, Team Max, who actually did very well, they're taking a break as well. Same goes for PBMS and also OF. So these 4 teams, they're not going to play in the next round. Instead, we are going to reintroduce the teams of Group D, KHI, GX, and B, as well as S69 for the final Erangel match today.
It's really exciting when you put it that way, right? The idea that everything could just change. I thought to myself, okay, it's just another 4 new teams coming into the rotation, replacing the other 4. Could we see the same thing happening again between RNG and Max? But completely change of pace, change in play style as well. Granted, it was a really rough circle, but adaptability is definitely there. So, like you said, Cloud, it's just hard to really determine what to expect from, when the team changes are happening every single map. You're always going to be on your toes. You always have to be in a situation where you're ready to adapt. There's no such thing as being comfortable.
Yeah, just as when it's like, oh, I found this formula against this group in this map, and then all of a sudden, the group changes.
Yeah.
This is the challenge that the teams will need to adapt to, right? So every round will be very different, whether it's a different map or a different grouping. So the teams will have to go figure. But we are still going to feature some of the top teams here in this round. So Rangers is still going to play, and for Young Radicals, they're going to play as well. So putting them in the same set of maps. I wouldn't say they're in the same group, but the same set of groupings, that is. So it's going to be an exciting round this time. And of course, Rangers, they got to pick themselves up after a rather disappointing Erangel round. Nevertheless, let's head on to Erangel.
This is our final Erangel of the day. We're looking at A, C, D, and E. No B are playing today. No B team here. So, which means no Austria, no Max, no PBMS, and no OF. Which if anything, should, I think, a bit of a sigh of relief for teams that are, always being chewed on by Max in the first 2 maps for today. So, at the same time, and at the very least, it also is going to be excited to see who exactly is going to occupy the drop spots that were previously occupied by the B.
Oh yeah, that's what we're going to see, right? Because we are shuffling the groups. So maybe certain spots might have a clash. We saw a clash earlier in Severny involving two different teams. One of them is S69 and they decided to drop in Severny again. Now, it's not too clear whether there's another team overlapping them or not, but perhaps we'll get to see that later on. And looking at the mini screen, looks like they will be sharing the same area. But this time it's going to be a bit different. They're going to take the fight.
Yeah, this time around they seem a little bit more confident in how they want to take a fight here. It's very decisive this time around compared to before, how the team were just kind of like in a Mexican standoff. They didn't really want to officially take these fights. But this time around it's all about positioning here. And S69, they're in trouble. GX Coca-Cola here, great opening pick, great fast hits as well with the big guns that he has in mind. Pre-fires from Masatoki, but the rest of GX were already anticipating that.
Yeah, they kind of know because this is not the first time that they actually meet with each other, so they're prepared for it this time. Anyway, for S69, they managed to pick up their teammate. Master Riggs is back up. So now we're back at the Mexican standoff, unless if Labo can get this knocked down onto Sin. Sin is still in the building on the other side. He knows that he's being watched. But looking away at the circle, looks like it's going to be a kind circle, but this time center around the area of Gaka on the left side. So it's still going to be an okay circle. Back on the Severny, the standoff.
But it's okay, we have another standoff here happening between 214 and Goa as well. Now, these two teams I've been keeping my eyes on these two teams here, 214 in terms of survivability, in terms of rotations, very clean on how they go. But Goa is a team that I would say, they do very well in high pressure situation. They're great at just brute forcing their way into the circles, taking these fights and surviving, holding onto the air, and be able to hold on to as well. Now, these two teams, we hear a lot of commotion coming through, but no pure follow-ups here. It's just every time they see someone just pre-fires abound here, but no one is willing to make that first move here. So like it or not, it has to be another team to come forward. But the same could be said about these two teams here. Finally, Goa has reached into 214's compound here. A lot of damage coming through. Kree as well as Kree just passing by each other, Ran and getting, but Kree somehow manages to run away with the kill.
Nice, from the back that is. And that will be them securing an upper hand against Goa. The rest of Goa, they're still on the outside of the building. And Swarm will get Lion. That's his own teammate there. Not the right time to make a boo-boo.
Very low right now as well. He's done doing one kill here. Pre-fire somehow going to be able to just get off of that with the shotgun. So Lion should be easily picked up here. They did lose one player at the very least, but the same could be said about Goa. They all going to go for a reset. So 1-for-1 trade between these two teams here. Both rendered very low, both in a situation where they're forced to reset. So bit of silence for the time being.
It's a bit of a standoff here while both teams reset themselves as Clay Jr. will be back up again. And it's 3 players now for Goa. Not making the big moves though. 3v3 still. But we can see that the two members of 214, they are not recovering themselves. Perhaps they are out of healing utility. So that's going to be quite a bummer for them.
Yeah, it's still very early. I don't think that both these teams even had the time to properly loot up and prepare for this fight as well. So a lot of advantage in Goa's favor. 214 is just so low. One small sneeze and two of them are out. Michi as well, with only half HP left here. They're in a situation where they're stuck on the top side of this building. They can jump up if they want to, but if they do, immediate sprays coming in from Kele Jr. as well as Ngape Yao means that they're gone. They have to wait.
Yeah, so playing the waiting game won't benefit both sides since they don't have the circle. And they have to get to the Gaka area, that means crossing the bridge. But they are really taking their time here. Okay, Clay, now with his last grenade. I don't know where he's going to aim from here, frankly speaking, but I guess he's just getting prepared. But I'm pretty sure he's going to keep it back later on. So we're back to the standoff, ladies and gentlemen. It's a matter of who will make the first move.
I mean, looking at the map as well here, a lot of teams haven't really focused yet on coming into the circle yet. I mean, the only team that's really smack dab in the middle of the circle right now over on Zrozok is BG. There is a team that is trying to vie for them towards school there. I feel like PG, I don't think that it's wise for them to do that, especially since they're the team that not only have they played a lot of maps today and they haven't gotten a single point. I think for them, for me personally, if I want to see from PG right now, maybe survivability is the answer. Don't take fights, survive, play as a team, and just go for those passive points you can get from just surviving until top 6, top 5 even, if you want to make sure that you're not taking these fights, because in terms of firepower, they're definitely not there quite yet compared to the rest of the teams.
Yeah, and don't meet with Rangers. they don't have a good record against Rangers. So that's another thing to take note of as well.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, that's a lot of damage into Clay. He does have 10 bandages though to heal back up. So as long as he's not knocked, 214, they don't have the information, so they're still there. But we're back onto Saberni. Here we go. Coca-Cola dragged by Labo.
Labo was waiting for a long time for his head to pop out there, and as you say, patience is virtue, and he will be highly rewarded for him. Great pickoff there means that the rest of the team can slowly start to take out space. That's exactly what they're doing here. But GX, as soon as the space has been taken, they decide, okay, let's just retreat, move backwards. We have more buildings on the other end of the town. We don't have to wait for them to come to us. We don't have to wait to get choked here. As 214, okay, they finally have left the building. They have jumping out one by one, not allowing Goa to quickly choke onto them as well. But they're in a very dangerous situation where they're out there in the open. Again, they're so low right now. The only player that has full life is Michi.
Oh wow, the elimination fee looks like PG is not having a good time while the players knocked. So we will continue to monitor the situation of PG. Noah went out, so that's 3 players left for PG. But in the mid to the base, it's still 214 and Goa. But at least 214, they managed to escape the building, so they have a bit more space for them to loot. And I'm now looking over at their utilities. Their bullets are pretty low. Goa pretty much probably in the same situation, so they decided to like, okay, you know what? It's not worth spending our time here in this Mexican standoff. We'll just leave this area.
Yeah, you gotta figure out how to not only leave the area, you have to get to the circle, you have to find vehicles as well if you want to cross. And on top of that as well, because they don't have enough loot, they have to be careful of the idea that there is gonna be a team hanging around, the bridge. You're gonna have to pay the bridge troll eventually, and that's gonna be TTQ.
Well, for Saverni, at least they don't need to worry about the bridge troll that much. But they're still in the standoff here. We can see that on the minimap, the blue is coming towards them, so they have to kind of decide on how they're gonna deal with this one. It does look like GX, they are no longer interested. Seems like their players have left this area. So they're finding an exit at least. But for S69, they're still around the area of Saverni, willing to take out the blue. Hopefully they'll be able to find vehicles the moment they leave Saverni.
About that as well, we're still looking at the 2 teams just so far out into the blue, GG, KHI, and I'm looking at both these teams in particular because they're all the way to northwestern side and southwestern side of the circle. It's still going to be a ways away for them to rotate, but again, late rotations, especially this early into the game, you're not going to get punished for, at least not too early as well. Even if you get gate capped, the circle isn't going to hurt too much. It's those later stages that you don't want to get gate capped out of. Now, looking at the circle here, a lot of teams have decided to go play the middle side of the area, but the circle will be pulling toward Pachinki, where a majority of teams have set up base already, RNG, YG, so I can anticipate a very exciting fight coming there already, since it's all the giants hanging around there.
Yeah, especially around the area of Pachinki, right, where teams do like having Pachinki because it's in the middle of the map, but well, none of the teams are actually inside Pachinki now. Now, do you really need to force yourself into Pachinki with this circle? Not really, though. You can still play on the outside. Unless if you really want to get into Pachinki, that's fine. Okay, these teams starting to move at 8th area. And Young Capitals have to bump into Burby's goals, taking 2 players out.
Oh! Look at that. They're going to shoot back here. Master Ichi ready and waiting for that. So a trade coming through here from these 2 teams. A smile over the back line, providing a lot of damage in the long range fight here as well, making sure I get to chunk down a lot of the enemy's HP. But it's still not enough though, because the rest of the teams here decided to just take it easy, take their time to go for the reset. But gotta give it to BG in terms of how they want to latch into their prey. They are really persistent.
On the elimination feed, Ranger seems to bump into Gradicos as well. And from afar, we can see here Jibna tapping away onto Young Gradicos. On the other side, they got Romeo. And Legend working close. So the 2 teams Legend looking at Young Gradicos right now. They're being stranded.
Just talked about how Young Galacticos might have a target on their backs, but in this situation, not really a target, but rather positioning will be completely weaponized against them here. Let's say what could be said about Young Galacticos here coming in from the other end. It's going to be NB that ran into another member here. So Young Galacticos tried to play it safe, tried to play a 2-1-1 formation here, but they're just getting caught out right, left, and center. There's no sanctuary, no respite for them.
Yeah, just not letting them go, right? So difficult for Young Radicals now that they only have 1 active player. And spray will continue on onto Young Radicals. Man, from having a good first round. The second round is so difficult right now. EG gets Romeo, he's on the ground. He should be able to be picked up. But nevertheless, they will continue to pressure the young radicals. EG still not letting go of his former teammates.
Still have them covered in the smoke as well, but Envy as well just keeps going for every single vehicle. And as they're crossing here, barely surviving that initial situation, but BG also in trouble here. Envy are just really surprising me right now in terms of positioning. They're also separated from one another here, but individual brilliance shines right now, putting in the pressure, making sure they're able to take up space here. Yahiko playing that first contact right smack dab in the front here, so it does disable Smile from being able to go for the reset. Romeo is going to have a hard time to be reset here, to be picked up as well. So aggressively, they're going to push through those smokes and eventually going to steal away those pickoffs. So Young Galacticos, this is 16th place for them with only one elimination. The Kings have been eliminated from this map, and as well as S69.
Looks like they did not survive the Severny clash earlier on. S69 only managed to collect 1 point this round. As for Burmese goals, after all that, they only have one active player, and that's going to be EG. The rest of them have been eliminated. Unknown will give his life away to Yahiko from NB. So right now, only one player left for Burmese goals. The best they could do is just hold on for positioning points.
It's a very difficult circle as well. I mean, granted, there is water to the southern side, but still, either you're in Pachinki where you can have a little bit of the terrain or the compound, or you play toward the side of terrain on the southern side of Pachinki, and the rest after that is all just open water area. And that's exactly what Goa is trying to capitalize on. Any player, any team trying to swim into the circle, you're going to be caught in the open here. And Clay is like, yeah, you're going to swim? Well, big mistake. I'm here fishing.
I'm surprised that they actually went for the swim, okay? Not too sure what happened. Gotta follow that narrative from the very beginning, but I don't know. Looking at the circle, don't we need to force a swim? But yeah, I guess they probably had a strategy in mind that we probably haven't figured out. But it's okay. I mean, what's done is done, and unfortunately 2-1-4 will go out with only 1 point this round, and those points are given to Goa. 4 points collected by Goa, 12 points as of now, somewhere in the middle of the overalls. Not too bad for Goa.
I mean, coming back to what we were talking about in terms of why did they force the swim, I'm suspecting that they were a bit too worried about if there was going to be a team over on bridge, right? You have no clue of whether you can take the fight or not. So they were hoping that it's going to be clear waters coming up forward here. But I think it's right smack dab on the side of the circle. I mean, you should already be anticipating that it's either going to be someone waiting on the other end of the water, or it's going to be on the other side right behind you. In this case, it was right behind you. Getting backstab like that is definitely rough. That seems to be said about Sin right now, because they're doing a great job of making sure that no one can reach a compound. They have the mushroom house, they have a few houses in their hands, and GX, it felt like they were corralled from one fight to the next.
Oh, ET just got eliminated by Yahiko. That is the end for Burmese goals. Number 12, only 1 point. A lot of big teams actually just got eliminated. Now, one of the top contenders, Rangers, still in the game with a full squad, so let's see what they can come up with the fact that the other big names have been taken out. As for Nexus Vanguard, what a good spot for them to be in. This Pachinki high ground towards the left side. They'll be able to block NB from coming in.
They know the NX is there as well, but toward the southern side of the circle here, GG as well as Goa just rushing into the circle area as well. The circle will be pushing more toward that that central side, as well. So it is still going to be a long way for these two teams to be able to get to the circle. And GG do what they do best here. GG's, guys, I don't want to take this fight. My priority, getting to the circle.
Yeah, they're like, okay, it's stage 4. It's painful. We might as well just get it. Try to put focus on getting a good position in the circle. That's what they did in the previous round. They brought them the chicken dinner. But okay, they look like they continue to roll. But you see the company around from this high ground. They have company around them.
There's much to this fight as well. They crunched in between two different areas here. 3-1 formation for one of these teams here. RNG, they want to dominate right now. With Rookie drawing knockdown already. He range in trouble, but surprisingly, despite the low HP, he's still courageous. He's still rallying. He's just completely spraying through those smokes, giving so much space for his teammates to be able to just completely obliterate them from the backside here. But Goa, they are going to be just brute forcing their way into the circle, disregarding the fight here, leaving GG to their their death.
Wow, Rangers, Jeffy and Co. Looks like they continue to rain bullets onto GG. GG, lucky enough for them, they do have the smoke for them to recover. They should be fine. They should be back up really, really soon. But they lost Luki in the process. Nevertheless, 3 players, anything can happen. We have seen multiple times that team scores chicken dinner with only 3 players. Now for KHI, they have a visitor here in the name of Miner. When you mentioned about Goa earlier on, brute forcing themselves in, and unfortunately, they met the demise at number 11.
Unfortunately, goes on as well here. Silent Gods as well. Been very silent at the beginning of the game. I'm surprised about that here, but they decided to change their approach and how exactly they approach this map here. But not going to be silent for long, as it's going to be PG. There we go. First point in the bag. Lucci picked up as well. They're not out of the woods quite yet here. Together on a vehicle, crossing forward as well. Gonna finally make their way, or slowly make their way to that circle. Still have to deal with 3 other members for Silent Gods.
And here's PG. Okay, they're only 2 placements away from starting to collect placement points. But at least they've got their points off the mark. They scored 1 elimination point so far, so that's good news for PG. I guess the extended break is what they needed in order for them to refresh, reset, and review their pods. And so far, so good for PG. Well, not going to jinx them, because right now they will be facing the challenge of getting the circle while having teams in front of them on the high ground.
SG getting completely, I would say, sandwiched here. PG on the high ground outside the circle. You have KHI in the middle. I believe it was Migs that managed to steal 1 player away, which is from SG. And now Caps as well has been knocked down. So for KHI here, they have a nice little crater to work with, at the very least, a valley, and by them is a package as well, so they can go and pick that up if they want to. But honestly, for me, it's Sin that has the best situation right now. They have a terrain to work with. They have strike smack dab in that circle here. And PG unrelenting right now. Wants to make up for all of the mistakes they've done earlier here. Being able to steal away SG and take 3 points already in itself is the start for them.
Wow, okay. Might be still early, but we could be looking at the rise of PG here. And so far, so good. They managed to breach the circle, but we'll be seeing the shift of the circle next coming up soon, and it's going to go towards the left side. So PG, they need to move forward, and that team that's in front of them is going to be KHI. On the elimination feed, Davan just got knocked out by Superboy. Looks like GG, they're in trouble.
GG, they tried to do their strat earlier, which is surviving, just ignore all these fights, but because of that, turning turning away from the fight is not necessarily the biggest thing you can do here. And now because of that, TTQ is gonna rush forward as well. TTQ will be taking full advantage of this situation, and now GG has been eliminated here.
Unfortunate for them, out after scoring that chicken dinner. This time, they only managed 1 elimination point. 1 point overall, that is. Looks like we're starting to see a bit of a power shift, but of course it's still very early into the week, so numbers will definitely go up and down like a stock market. But for PG, not time for them to go up and down. They have to move forward, and KHI by the rim of the circle, waiting for PG.
Very aggressive, a lot of pressure coming in for the team as well. KHI taking full advantage of the fact that they have control of this circle for the time being, at least on the northern side here as well. Gatekeeping, trying to just clear out this area as well. They want to be able to at least deny this space from this team. Now PG, we were just talking about their rise, but now they're still limping here because they don't have a lot of space to work with. The blue zone is slowly coming toward them as well. And they are in a situation where they're just so separated from each other. In terms of numbers, they don't have a lot to work with either, so they will be eliminated here, but still 3 eliminations, 8th place is enough for them for a time being, for the start of their rise.
Yeah, it's better than the rounds before this, so okay for PG. Let's see how they can keep up the momentum. It's now a shift over to Nexus Vanguards going up against NB. They managed to take down 2 players of NB with XZXY on top of that hill behind the tree, and they managed to surprise one of the Superboy went down. And he has hit all the punches. It's going to be a 1v1 for now. That's around the Superboy behind him. It's KHI having to butt in.
That is insane how he's able to just survive that long juking, but at the same time, they finally get them in the end here. NX looking very great right now, resetting, so being able to survive as a 4 again. This is very, very much needed if they want to be able to pull off a miracle and take out Sin all the way down there to all the way up there in the middle of the circle. But at the very least here, NX and KHI, they're going to be fighting for this top side area here. But the winner, at least in terms of advantage right now, is NX. They have a nice terrain, the high ground to work with as well. So, but KHI, they're being very smart about how they're moving right now, playing on the side of the terrain.
And we got smoke still active here, deployed, blinding Time to Quick Esports from stopping AF coming into the circle. But nevertheless, because of that smoke, now AF is able to march forward. But they still have to deal with Time to Quick Esports. Still not letting them go for now. Time to Quick Esports still with full squad. Escape. Managed to escape that one. For now, that is a Dizuki. Lobs a nade across. Let's see who will be able to land on to escape. It explodes. And escape that, but Zuki still got fall.
Ooh, that did perfectly done here. Zuki is gonna just completely obliterate the rest of the team here. AFF, since they start their debut today, they are struggling, and it seems like this team is still recurring for them as well. AFF is not gonna be able to come out of this alive here, will be eliminated with only one elimination, giving so much space away to TTQ. Now for TTQ, the only thing that's stopping them right now is Sin in the middle of the several.
Oh yeah, and they have a combat to work with. Oh man, that's a very, very good position that they're in right now. And on the northern side, we still have Nexus Vanguards against KHI Esports. KHI 200 players on the other side of the circle will need to come in. But Nexus Vanguards, they won't make it easy for KHI. Nevertheless, they have two players within the circle as a marker that they can play around this terrain, blocking the line of sight of Nexus Vanguard.
KHI, very patient with how they want to play this. No clue where exactly the positions of Nexus are. Nexus have a lot of space that they can play with on the northern side here. They have a terrain, they have one player all the way on the back side here, just to make sure that if anyone were to cross and backstab, they are going to have a crossfire ready.
And here comes the charge in. High-Speed Esports gathering. They're planning their next move as well. Inside the circle, it's going to be a tough one. Sitting with the compound, it's going to be quite hard to bridge. They're doing their flanks first. They're looking at DHI right now in the warehouse. DHI with the smoke bridge. Waiting for the right side to come up. That's because of so many of this process shooting onto them, finding it really, really difficult. Okay, so that's Rangers there with Nathan currently down. Bunny will finish him off, and Rangers only two players left. Jimna falls to the ground and will be eliminated. Now left with only Jappy.
Ranger start off the day really, really good. Now Jappy all alone, forced to pull off a miracle and the impossible, but with a lot of pressure coming through in the blue zone as well. What can you do? You want to try and survive, but I think he's all out of utility. Gonna fall here. One elimination for them, but fifth place, decent enough. But TTQ, they're aggressive. They want to completely obliterate this compound held by Sid. Gonna try and go about this surgically here. They have to make sure they clear the corners. Don't want to be caught out there with the nades, with the util, as well as the shotguns. But on the other end here is KHI, who has been keeping an eager eye onto them, stealing away kills, putting in the damage as well. And TTQ taking a lot of damage to try to breach into that first compound.
Zuki sealing up. Oh, very low on health right now. They're trying to take over this compound for Sin, but Sin is treating it like a fortress. Nevertheless, what a place for Sin currently down. This could be the opening for Time to Quick Esports. Shining on the second floor, but Cool is on the left side. Oh, always check your corner, and Cool will punish him for that.
Oh man, Cool. He's just cool as a cucumber there, waiting for the right timing. You never really see him in a situation where he's panicked. Deep breaths as well, quick repositions. Quiet, hiding in those smokes, waiting for the rest of TTQ to push toward him, where he's going to try and completely overwhelm and overcome here. But the amount of space TTQ has been able to get, despite everything, has not been the most either. You still have to worry about where the other members of Sin are here. The only person inside the same compound of them is Cool.
Alright, Rankid at least got liquid. Okay, but now Cool is still a 1v2 in the same building. Cool navigating around with the rest of cases his target, but Cool knocked out by Zuki. But Zuki needed himself, so I guess he got a little bit panicked there when he saw Cool.
Yeah, lucky for him, Zuki forced to move back and reposition. But it looks like KHI is not the only team that has their eye on this fight as well, and expects to join the fight as well. You want to try and steal away a pick-off, maybe get a knockdown as well. Liquid on the outside here, somehow managing to stay a little bit more quiet. I don't think Rankid actually spotted him out quite yet here. WKX, beautifully done as well. Sprays the heck out of TTQ in trouble. Quicker position, up down movement here, but gonna fall down to that shotgun. Not done yet. Suzuki, nice nade forward, but Rankid, oh my god! Decides to play the big balls game, rush up forward, shoot them in the face. Gives them the elimination.
Well, let's see who will come up with a big one here between KHI and also Nexus Vanguard, as they will fight for the northern side of the world. And so Vantage are doing so good. They managed to get one, they're looking for the second knockdown, and they will get us out. One more to go behind the tree, and KHI will be the kings of the north.
Yeah, Chai has been playing this so well as well. I was a bit concerned because of positioning. They were out there in the open, but the terrain has given them so much value. This team has just been out here keeping an eye out on things, not taking up space they don't have to, and being able to survive as a whole. Now Sin with only now Sin with only one member left here, Rankid. Yeah, he's the Rankid. He's the kid that's been able to pull off miracles, but against a 3, is it a heavy ask is the question.
Well, all Filipino finale here between Sin and also PMCL. And they spot Rankid getting away. But down there is going to be Mix waiting for him. He does have his other teammate though behind him, but I guess it's pretty low. But nevertheless, we're going to focus on the Rankid right now. Rankid against Mix. Mix with a Molly in hand. Rankid with an M4. Mix, UMP. Switching around to the Molly. As here comes the Mios. And WSKX is coming in as what Rankid. Rankid needs to buy a little bit more time, but KHI will not allow him that time and space as they try to rush in onto him. Kayla! Not by WSKX. That could be the opening that they're looking for. Now they manage to even up the odds. 2v2.
Teammates there as well, but Rankid, great opening onto Ikler. It's not done quite yet. Isolating the fights one by one. It is surgical, has to be precise. 2v2, very winnable. Puts him in a more favorable position. Rankid's alone here. Tries to put in damage onto WOS, finds nothing quite yet. Mix on the top side. Tries to play an off angle, finds nothing.
Rankid still with SFK. This is a very clutchable weapon here that we're talking about. Now, circle, both sides pretty equal. Plus, Rankid, he could use some help. If his teammate is able to cross the road and join him. There's not willing to take that risk yet. He's playing the support role behind while Rankid holding on the line by himself. Now cooking up the snake. Where is he going to toss it? He's going to toss it behind, but the Mios is currently not there. It will not hit onto the Mios. Lots of utilities into the building, but the Mios is still behind this sniper tower.
Position of WXKX is massive here for Rankid. He's able to see a little bit more further forward, can give just the information so that Rankid can play that first contact. Rankid, you gotta give it to him. This is a very bold play. He's just dry peeking alone right now. But KHI decides that they don't want to fight this. They have advantage of jumping the circle. Like it or not, the Sin is gonna have to push toward them. It's an aid. Can I clip? No. It's actually just there just to give them a bit of space to just rush through. It's gonna try and breach the building, not quite. I'm trying to hope that they're gonna bite the bait, check around to see if Rankid did push forward, but they know.
Yeah, and here comes WSKX. He needs to cross the road. If he's able to do so, then at least they'll be playing a 2v2. Right now, the problem is that Mix could probably see WSKX. That's why he is really threading this carefully at this point. But here comes Rankid again, another utility on the back by will not connect to the Mios. Yet still,
Oh, here we go.
Here comes WSKX moving down the ground. Rankid goes down and looks like it is still KHI with the chicken dinner.
KHI, they played that to a T, knowing their position means that they have full advantage of that. It's Sin that has to push through. It's Sin that has to come and take the fight to them. It's all about that hold, a nice high and low on the top side, Mix being able to see across the road, marking WXKX and Rankid, despite his efforts to make the noise, to distract. KHI, they remain steadfast, they remain focused.
Absolutely, absolutely. With KHI, didn't have the best of start today, but it is not about how you start. At least they score a chicken dinner, and this could be the start to their overall campaign with a nice standoff there with Sid. It could have gone it away, frankly speaking, but because they held their ground, they were really, really cool. They didn't panic, and they know that the chicken dinner is in the back for them.
Oh man, I have to say that was one of the most intense 2v2s we've seen today as well. But KHI here showing us a different look to them as well, honestly. I mean, coming into this team, when you look at how they've been playing, it's a team that has a lot of experience coming up forward. But in terms of discipline, this team looks like a whole new team.
Oh yeah, just look at the numbers, right? With a whole new team. 12 eliminations for KHI. And of course, they are not new names in the professional scene. Players like the Neos, Mix, Claire, Blanks, they've been around for quite a while right now. They're showing their experience here, going up against Sid towards the end early on. And with 12 eliminations and a chicken dinner, that's 22 points collected by KH. That is a sweet round for them.
Yeah, really, really sweet round. And I have to say, in terms of positioning as well, I was concerned. The northern side that they held was right beside the circle. And I thought to myself, okay, how are you going to get to the circle? There's so many teams right now. Sin was the team that had full advantage. They had the terrain, they had an area they held onto. But KHI was just focused on being able to come up, in the end, being able to go aggressive and just waiting for them to come to them. Regardless, we're going to be talking about more of this highlight.
Well, and here is the match ranking. KHI, 22 points with the chicken dinner. The second place team, Sin, comes in with 15 points. Nexus Vanguard, 13 points. Time to Quick Esports, 11 points. So that's the double-digit club. We still have Rangers here on page number 1, but they only managed to score 4 points, so they might not be able to come back up to that number 1 spot. But too bad for SG, the only team to not score a single point this round. Hopefully they'll be able to come back stronger next.
You know what's really exciting? The fact that in just one round, PG was able to collect, I think, 3-4 points already compared to the rest of the day. Again, this could be the start for them as well. They're looking a lot better in terms of gunfire and firefights, looking a little bit more confident here too. So this is what I wanted to see. And seeing them on the first page makes me a little bit more excited to see them throughout the entirety of the next of the series here. But coming up here, we're going to be looking at a surpass into the points where RNG not able to keep up 2-point deficit from Max as being able to slowly creep their way up onto the top spot here. And in terms of eliminations, I think both these teams are tied up. It's just more positioning points that has just been giving priority for these teams.
Yeah, and the priority right now is for PG to get more points. So far, so good in this round. They managed to collect 4 points, which is okay. So at least that gives them a bit more chance for them to climb back up the charts. Don't want to be at either number 20 or basically out of the top 16 because, well, we're looking for the best 16 teams to be the grand final. Our top 4 teams in this round, KHI, Sin, Nexus Vanguard, and Time to Quick Esports, with a lot of eliminations between them, if you kind of think about it.
You know what's really exciting about this particular round? The fact that for every single team here has had a very unique experience in terms of their fights in the top 4 as well, how they reached the circle, how they played together as well. TTQ, especially when it felt like, for me personally, in the last few rounds when they want to take these fights, they've been struggling. They weren't able to win their gun round. They get, in the middle of the rotations, they're not able to breach the circle. But this time around, things have changed. So that break kind of really helped them, in my opinion. But MVP this time, we're going to be looking at Demios. And are you surprised at this point, how he played with his friends, survivability-wise, eliminations quite high alongside the damage taken. This team is very interesting. The decision-making, how they are playing on the same page as well. Chemistry looks great, despite using 2 players very, very early. Sid has done a great job of equalizing, but for them, it's like, okay, when we have 3 players, this is what we're going to do. When we are equalized to 2v2, this is what we're going to do. A high-low and making sure that we make them come to us and not the other way around. Don't get isolated, play together as a team. That is the game plan for today. But now we're going to be going into our last 2 maps. It's going to be Miramars after this, our first 2 Miramars of the season. So we are going to be right back after this. More PUBG Mobile.